Always love seeing that castle.
Oh, thank you.
This,
Jason, I try, man. It's part of what we do, you know? It's part of how we, it's part of my play style. So,
Harbor Town is an all-new
hopefully,
series from Miniature Building Authority, the leader in tabletop gaming scene.
See me online.
Unique, flexible,
My
and playable.
Gangard was disappointed that I
will
called
take
off
your
today.
taste.
Oh, really? I'm sorry. You didn't have to do that for this.
No, it's kind of funny though, because usually they're the ones always calling off on me.
Oh.
And so it's like a little payback. Unfortunately, I'm at the end, so it kind of hurts myself, I suppose. But
not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were all like, ready to play and stuff.
I'm really sorry, man. You didn't have to do that.
Yeah. Now I'm feeling it.
Well, I'm glad you're here, Mike.
Yeah, me too. So look, if I'm having trouble with my signal as usual, so
Okay.
I just shut my camera off. I'll turn it back on, but if it gets janky again, I'm just
That's fine, man. No, that's fine. That's fine. It's good because I'd rather have you in the discussion than zonking out a lot. So it'll be good. It's okay.
Yeah, it's up here on the near div. We don't always have the best signal. I'm not kidding. I'm in Silver Bay, so it's pretty archaic.
I don't know what I'm gonna hit next. Let's do a new ad. How's that sound?
There you go.
Just want to run twice. Your stratagem got me a whole bunch of new stuff. Plus, I got some cool announcements for them coming up. They're stepping up for this our fundraiser event, which is coming up Saturday, February 15th. Good, Anna. Anna's going to be a spectator tonight.
Oh, she gets the day off.
She gets the night off. She said she wanted to listen in on this, so always a good thing. All right, here we go. I hit a button. Did it work? 2 weeks for this. Some high-level adventuring in the Shieldlands. By the way, guys, just everyone knows this is our 40th continuous year of gameplay here, so we're keep on cranking it up. What's up, Adam? How you doing, man? Good to see you on here tonight. Adam is is Adam the brains behind Wicked Studios LLC? Don't tell Will I said that. So. I know that was wrong. Guys, feel free to...
Hey, I'm doing a mic check.
Yeah, you're good. You're clear. You're good.
No, I just had to redo it because it was giving me a warning.
So we always start a minute or two early here. So 7:28, 7:29, we'll kick this off. At least the face, yes. Hey, Mike Wilson's on. Mike, how you doing, man? Mike, can you get with Jimmy Duffy from Craters Rejects? Because he wants to run Showcant 5e on or some part of it on our charity stream coming up on February 15th. So, and Mike does a lot of Greyhawk in Fantasy Grounds. So, yeah, cool stuff, man. All right. Should we run Tim tonight? Yeah, let's run Tim real quick. So, guys, like I said, feel free to chime up anytime to make this an open and fun discussion. Talking about, I'm really excited to get some background on how you guys developed your blogs here. It's something I wish I could do. I'm not like I'm great at writing adventures, but in my own Jason, we talked about this in our own weird language, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you though, I can't believe how good you are doing this Twitch thing.
Oh, well, thanks, man. Now that I'm going back to GaryCon, We're gonna have a streaming seminar there, so that'll
Like
be.
a board.
Mike, it's 2:15. Let me get some stuff off here.
You want me to tell everybody what my questions are so they're ready for them?
No, let's hold off. Let's. I got them written down. I wrote them down for you, and then we'll go and we'll do a roundtable on that, because I guarantee we're gonna have a lot of questions from the audience too. There's no doubt about it as well. We got like intellectual people, super smart people like Anna and Mike Wilson and Adam on, and I don't even know what our crowd total is because it's not showing up on my laptop.
It's a board of professors.
Okay.
I see 37 right now.
Awesome. It'll pop
Yeah,
up.
same here.
Good. There's another stratagem ad, and then we'll go to the prelude entrance. Oh, I got to set it. These things are freaking huge. All right, Mike, that's cool because it's not. He only has 4 hours. Jimmy Duffy has from 8 a.m. to noon. So we got an idea. I can get with you on what we need because it's not going to be obviously all the show camp. It's going to be a little part of it. So I'll run that one once. All right, here's our entrance. The bloggers at Greyhawk tonight, everyone.
Woo!
This is our 78th episode. Man, I feel old.
It's unbelievable.
Yep. This is our first Gabbin on our 40th anniversary year, so welcome everyone.
Yeah, are we all about the same age, I wonder?
That's a good question. Maybe that would be a question
I'm
to take.
55. I'm 55.
Yeah, 52.
54.
Wow. Pretty
47.
close.
I'm the baby.
Oh,
I thought
Mike.
Mike was the baby.
Yes.
Mike is the youngster.
Yeah, I
I'm the old
thought
one now.
Well, I didn't write this down for Jay, but I was wondering what we all started with or when we all started. I started with Holmes Basic in 77, I think.
So you actually started before me. Because I started, with the basic box set 78. All right, it's good to come on. Welcome, everyone.
Hey.
Jay, did you have dice or randomizer chips?
Chits, I had the prison edition.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
With Redbox.
It's a good
I
one,
started
too.
with Redbox. You know, when I started, are we actually running now? And also,
We're not on the main screen yet, but that's okay. We can come on now. So, welcome everyone. Hello, I'm Jay Killer Gazumba. What a night tonight. I'm so excited. This is our first Gabbin for 2020, our second stream in 2020, and I got 4 awesome guests.
2020.
So, thank you everyone for coming on, and we'll go from, we'll do it by age. We'll do youngest to eldest and introduce yourselves. So, guess who goes first, Mike?
Hi, I'm Mike Bridges. I run the blog Greyhawkery. I've been doing that for probably the last, I don't even know how long now, several years.
And what's your Greyhawkery is? Do you have a date that came in? Roughly.
When did I start it?
Yeah.
That would be winter of 2010.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Nice. Who's next? Age-wise, who's that? Who's 52? Someone's 52, right? I am, but
You were 52, Jay.
I'm 51.
okay, Tony, go for it. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm 51. So I'm Tommy. I'm 51 years old, and I'm running greyhawkstories.com. So that's and it's this is January is 1 year I've been.
Great. One
flies.
year. That's awesome. And I know everyone loves the stuff on there. So I think we'll get into some detail on some of your how you get the inspiration for your stories. So, Tommy, thanks for coming on, man. Really appreciate it. I think that means next is Jason, right? Jason's
Yeah,
not the old guy here.
no, that's David.
Oh,
He
David.
just
Oh, you
looks
are the old
younger.
guy, Jason. I'm sorry. David,
Um,
welcome.
David's the old guy. I'm 54.
Oh,
I'm Jason Zavoda. I run Hall of the Mountain King blog, and I've been running it on and off since 2011. But it's really picked up in the last year.
I'll say.
and it's how do I say this? It's the standard for getting stuff out on a daily basis. Right? I mean, Jason, you really pumped out some
Well,
great
yeah, a
content.
lot of the stuff you're seeing now is because luckily Icarus over at Greyhawk Online, I always worry about the stuff disappearing into the void, and he's archiving it there.
Oh, that's
So
great.
yeah, it's not just links back to my blog. He's actually saving the content on Greyhawk Online. So that started at the end of October. So I'm going back and revising old posts and trying to get material that I post up. That's why you're seeing so many posts a day.
Great. It's exciting. Definitely is. And last but not least, David, welcome.
So, my name is David Leonard. My blog is called Greyhawk Musings. Apparently, I'm the oldest one, but I'm also the newest blogger. I've only been running my blog now since November.
But it's new, but everyone loves it. It's popular. So
What a splash.
excuse me.
That's a kick-ass
Yeah, you must be doing something right, because I know all four of you. Everyone loves what you were all doing. And let me see if I can blow your screens up a little bit here, because and then I'll put some stuff down. But I'm excited to have you on here. And what we're going to do is David's on limited time. So we're going to do a roundtable in reverse from time, how old the blog is. And so, David, let me start with you. What, as far as how did you get started? What was your idea for it? Like, how did you come about saying, I'm going to do this?
Well, I was actually watching Legends and Lore with Mike and Anna,
Awesome.
and Anna was pointing out little spots on the map, but also that there were absolutely blank. And I started realizing that my homebrew campaign from decades ago, well, even though I didn't actually think I was actually stealing from the gold box,
Oh man.
I guess my entire inspiration was coming from the gold box. It was because my entire campaign looked exactly like Radek. It also but not exactly.
Mm-hmm. So you basically got inspiration from Anna and Mike.
Yeah.
That is
And
awesome.
so then I thought right off the bat, it also like that I would actually just be, doing a lot of paper and pencil stuff. It also like and doing just text documents. It also like and scanning in, the maps and so on and also. But then I realized also that if I was actually going to be writing about Greyhawk, I actually had to learn about it all over again because I honestly didn't really know a whole lot about the actual official source material, and that meant that I had like tons of reading to do.
Well,
And for you, you pull stuff from all different sources. I mean, in your blog, you really do. You go all over the place and compile this information, and that is not easy to do. So I commend you on that. Are you currently going to continue on with history, or is it going to convert over into future doings, or convert into live? What's going on in your game? What do you think?
I'm going to continue on with the history for a while. Like right now, I started off at also with doing the ancient history, working my way ever east. I kept working my way further and further east because I thought I was going to be dealing with all the things that were world creating, and then finally it's like I would keep focusing towards Radek and that entire Threlonian peninsula. It's like and the conflicts that were there. And so I'm actually almost at the end of that. But then I thought it also as I'm going along, this was actually a huge narrative, but also that I wanted to continue to follow. So I've actually been dealing, while I've been doing this research, I've actually been trying to flesh out all these excerpts from across the entire North, because I've pretty much ignored everything that was west of the Rakers. And then I've also been touching into things that were affecting the whole Braddock area, which were also the Sea Barons and the North Province and the Lordship of the Isles, and then a little bit of Fireland and those towards the end.
Nice.
But I wanted to actually do that whole southeast as well.
That's exciting.
Nice.
Extremely exciting.
Now, whether or not I'm going to continue on and also like with the Sheldamar Valley and Greyhawk and all, like I think that there's so many people who've actually spent so much time adventuring in there, and also that if I actually started writing the history of that and tried to deal in, and also I can get the impression, and also that's when the how would you put it, the real scholars of the area would actually really start jumping all over me.
That's always the worry.
It true, but a different spin on it is always a good thing. I mean, look at my game, how far away it is from, in certain areas, from what, I don't want to say I know some people hate canon, but from published sources, it's okay.
Yeah, Jason, that's Jason. Jason hates canon. Don't sell canon around Jason.
That's right. That's right.
No, Jason likes Gygaxian canon, correct?
Well, there is no canon. That was the essence of Gygax.
Sure.
He gave the game to all of us, and no matter how much it's Pandora's box. It's been opened, and no matter how much the new IP holders want to put it back in, we've been given this thing. So the Greyhawk campaign it's just a starter. It's an idea, and it's really, if you read the books, it's a story that's being told from a source that is not necessarily accurate. It's being Smedger isn't a reliable historian.
Okay.
Within the books itself. So when you look at the folio in the 83 box set, you realize, and you read Gygax's philosophy, is that none of this, it's not necessarily going to be true, and it's really the individual DM to add the spark of life to the Greyhawk campaign. So no, I'm not a canonite, because there is no canon. There's lore.
Right. Okay.
There's eras, but there really isn't. And luckily for me, with the new stuff, they've kind of reset everything to 576.
Well, and Anna's doing that a lot too with the map too. That really helps that on by doing that. So.
Yeah, but Anna has Anna at the same time. Anna of anyone has done the most to bring all of the living Greyhawk material to the table and to say, okay, these are place names on the map. I mean, so she's playing both sides of it there, which is fantastic. I mean, that's absolutely why we love her maps.
Absolutely, it just. For me, like when I go on a Thursday night and I have the map with all my custom locations on Anna's map, and I'm describing what the prelude, what the adventure is going to be, man, it's just so awesome. It just doesn't get any better than that on that high quality map. So there you go, Anna. Nice smiley face for you, and a nice shout out. So
well, Anna's maps are invaluable. You just really should grab hold of those maps, because if you are doing anything with Greyhawk, they're one of the things I refer to constantly.
Oh, and there's more to come too. I guarantee it. And Anna may be talking about that again on Legends of Lore on Wednesday night. So, all right, David, that was cool, and we'll get around to a little more roundtable discussion, get you back into the swing here. So that I guess it's Jason next, because Mike's got it's Tommy, right? Tommy's up next. Tommy's up next. So go the background on why you got involved, why you got started with this. What was your thought process behind it?
So the blog started. I started blogging because you know what? It's just hard not to for me. I'm a writer, and so if I'm involved in the game, it's hard. It's hard not to record it, and if I'm recording it, it's hard not to try to put it in front of someone. So I guess it's a vanity problem. I started back I was in Greyhawk back in, I think it was 1980 when I first started playing in Greyhawk. And, I was doing like the classic stuff, the Giant, the Drow, White Plume Mountain, Barrier Peaks, that sort of thing. But I didn't own any of this stuff whatsoever. It was all my friend Tony. My friend Tony had all this stuff, and I was a player in his games, right? But once in a while, he would ask me to DM because he wanted to play a module. Well, this is what became my addiction. But here's the problem: Tony had money, and I didn't have money. So he would have these things, and I'll tell you what. Fast forward, and I'm like about 45, 46 years old. Maybe 4 or 5 years ago or something like this. And I realized, wait a second, I have money now. And so, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
I can do this.
Yeah, I can do this. Right. Exactly. And so I returned to Greyhawk with a passion. My kids are growing up and they're out of the house for the most part. And they were playing Pathfinder. And so I started playing Pathfinder with them. And it's like, I brought them into the world of Greyhawk and said, I'll bring you into Greyhawk. And so, and then I found 5e, and introduced them to 5th edition. I know that a lot of our boys and a lot of our school are 1st edition people, but I'm going to tell you what, 5th edition is that is the next generation.
Okay.
And
yeah.
So I'm thinking, what is it that Forgotten Realms has over us? Well, they have Drizzt Do'Urden, they have a lot of books, and they have a lot of fiction that really lights up the world and lights up this world for these people, and so they're able to look at this and say, oh yeah, I want to play there, I want to be part of that, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought we can do this. We've got a lot to offer, and so that's the idea behind Greyhawk Stories.
Is all of your stories your thoughts on a creation in the past, or is it any of it have basis on what you're running now?
Oh yeah, I've got some campaign adaptations.
Okay.
So I've got some of my own campaign adaptations, but I really didn't intend for this to be quite so heavily slanted towards just my material. I want to post other people's material, like I want to. If you write Greyhawk fiction, like David just had this awesome piece in Orth's Journal, and I know I linked to all of Jason's stories, and Mike's got some beautiful stuff. I've snitched his Emerald Meadows and his and I want to get his wool material pulled in. I'm trying to be a clearinghouse for Greyhawk stories in general, and it's not just my own personal work. Does that make sense?
It makes great sense, and I think everyone is extremely happy with the content, like all of you are putting out. But fiction is, for me, fiction is a difficult thing to write. It is, and to get it right, and you seem to, especially the stories on Egwolf really have gone over. I know.
Oh, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. This is my first my first time out writing fiction. I'm a writer. But I usually do technical writing. That's the what pays the bills, right? So this is my first real pass at fiction, and I have to say I just wanted to give a shout out to Mike, because it's I've been following his blog for 5 years, 6 years, something like that, and it's just like he's like a hero to me. It's like I'm just like
awesome.
Yeah.
Mike, and that's great. As far as it's good to know, there's others out there. I had Alan Crowley had his own show, so that's why I didn't invite Alan to this one. And I so I wanted to keep it to 4, and maybe Joe Block could have been another one, but and there's a couple others out there, some newer ones, but I wanted to limit it to 4 so we could all get a chance. You got to get a chance to talk. So on that, but I'm glad to hear that. It's good to know that you are inspiring to someone else with what they're doing, and it sounds like Mike, you both David and Tommy take inspiration from what you've done in one way.
Absolutely.
So good to hear.
It's a fantastic. It makes you feel good inside to know that your accomplishments are,
I'm just glad to see that so many more people blogging now, because for a while there, I really felt like it was just me and Joe doing Greyhawk Grognard. I know Jason's had his blog going for a long time, but like stuff that was regularly going on. We've never had this much going on as we do now.
It's a great time. It's going to be a great year. I mean, 2019 was a fantastic year for Greyhawk. I think 2020 is even going to be better. So, well, Tommy, thanks for that little background on your blog. Jason, you're up next. I think Mike's got you by a year. So,
oh yeah, by a couple months.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I started in 2011 with some reviews of the DCC products, but if you just posted one, the Battles of Greyhawk post, that's a reposting of me, and if you see it, I really got started because of Mike's blog.
This one?
Yeah, that's it. If
Okay.
that was one of my earliest posts. That's a 2011 post I just redid.
Okay.
And if you see inspired by an old post of Mortellans, that's Mike, and that's what got me going with the blogging.
3 for 3.
What you don't see, Mike used to do his cartoons.
True.
And that was incredible. Those are incredible things. And,
I had twice the content back then when I was doing the comic strips.
Yeah, and everyone loves that stuff. And Brian Blumkotz releases that occasionally on his Facebook page too.
It's like reading it for the first time.
It seems like there's a theme going on here. Everybody's actually been inspired by Mike.
Yeah, it's the Mike. It's the Mike show. Hey, it's great. I mean, it's good to see.
Fantastic.
It's good to see.
But
Definitely.
a lot of the blogging I do, and probably a lot of the mapping that Anna does, is because of Jason's index.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Well, like what Ann is doing by including all this material, I might be what they call a Gygaxian purist, but that's just my stuff. Now, when I did that index, and if anybody hasn't seen it, it's just was something I love doing, and I tried to reference every bit of information I could find. And one of my regrets is that back when I was doing the index, I had only one link to the Living Greyhawk people, and that was Onwall with Crichton Broadhurst.
Yeah, they were pretty open.
And he sent me a lot of information. If you see the index today, my last update was 2003. It's hard to believe. But Crichton sent me a lot of Onwell material that I was actually able to put into that index. And there is such a vast amount of Living Greyhawk that is unavailable, unfortunately. And I wish I'd been able to reach out to everybody. I had a very bad experience with my own triad here in the East Coast, and I actually got kicked out of it. So,
wow.
Well, anybody who knows me, especially back then, I kind of got into fights with everybody. Joe Goodman, Frank Metzner, a whole bunch of people have me on their banned list. So,
but you're a calm soul now. So.
I've calmed down after the last 16, 17 years.
Awesome.
But no, I started my blog because of what I saw with what Mike was doing. So, and my original material was mostly I was doing reviews, and then I had a big City of Greyhawk project, and that was probably about my first year of blogging. And then the other thing I liked doing was taking poetry and songs and turning them into Greyhawk related with some really ham-handed chopping up of classical poetry. And if you see anything of mine
musings
labeled minstrel tales,
that's it. Musings is I'm sorry, minstrel tales.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's material I've taken from
cool.
All this wonderful classic poetry and music.
Excellent. Well, Jason, I'm glad you're here again. This is the second time you've been on my show, and I appreciate it a lot. I know we're going to have a great discussion tonight. Mike, I'm going to hold off on you just for time frame. We'll get because I know David's got a limited amount of time, so I want to get him involved more in the discussion. When David departs, we'll talk about your background because they're all worshiping you now anyway. So you really don't have to. So here's a question for everyone. It's almost like a DM's roundtable. We'll start with David. Give me your preferred playing Greyhawk. What's your preferred gaming system? And give me one, if you're DMing, one rules quirk of yours.
I don't really have any rules because because right now I'm actually playing 5th at also. But if I had my choice, honestly, it's like it's first edition because that's what
Okay.
Greyhawk was.
Mhm.
And in my I don't know about you at all, but I pick up the 5th edition or even any like the thirds or whatever it also. It's like, and they're all interesting. But when I actually pick up those original 3 books, especially,
Oh yeah.
there's a reverence.
Oh
in
my gosh. I agree 100%.
I just love them to death. There's a
One
language in the spirit of people.
one and then 2 we had a little bit of a twist to it, and but it's still the basic THACO system and all. So no quirks on your end when you were DMing at all, huh? It's just you're running straight 5e and you're running nothing out of the ordinary.
We pulled a few things out of Dragon Magazine and tried them at those, but
Okay.
it's almost like the way the Unearthed Arcana is in 5e now. It's almost like it was all play testing, and we found that if we were using things from Dragon Magazine, there was one thing, and also I think it was called the Grievous Injuries chart. We tried actually doing that, and it's like, oh my god, like the players pretty much dropped dead. It also like too rapidly, so we dropped that pretty quickly.
Cool. Well, at least you gave it a shot. That's a good thing. Definitely worthwhile to try some different things. How about you, Tommy?
Well, okay, so I'm playing 5th edition right now. I'm trying to learn 5th edition as I'm playing it right now.
Yeah.
I'm a 1st edition guy, for sure. And then it was like a huge learning curve to come into Pathfinder, which is essentially 3.5. But so I'll tell you what, 5th edition is a lot easier than 3.5. It works a lot. It moves a lot smoother. It moves a lot faster. And that's really, for me, I've never been a game mechanics guy. I've been more about the narrative, more about the story, more about trying to involve the characters in a sense of oh my gosh, what's going to happen next to my character. So, I guess I'm a cheater as a DM. What I mean by that is I try to keep my characters alive. I try to keep my players alive because it's like hard enough to find anybody who's willing to do this with me, much less to then discourage them. So I tend to if you want to know what I try to that's the reason for the screen. I keep those dice rolls behind the screen so that people don't realize that they've been slaughtered.
I think we all everyone raise your hand or say yes. We've all fudged die rolls not to kill off a player. Raise your hand.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Were you too,
No,
Jason?
I'm a killer DM.
Oh no, Jason. I've
Let
done
the
it.
dice fall where they may.
Okay.
I've
I
fudged
open
a
roll.
lot. I fudged a lot at all, but at the same time, if someone was actually becoming a rules lawyer on me, then it was no holds barred.
So that's called DM's crushing fist, by the way.
Good.
That's what we call it.
I'm glad there's an official rule name for that.
Yeah, that's been in mind for all those years. So excellent. Mike, what about you on this question?
Well, actually, I want to point out the thing about the fudging. One of my quirks is I don't use a DM screen. But as to the fudging, I don't fudge dice rolls because I kind of roll those out in the open, of course. No, the fudging's on the other end. It's in the bookkeeping. So if an encounter's running too long, or if it's just, it's going to be a TPK or something like that, I can let, off the gas pedal without ever rolling a dice because it's all in the math.
Right.
It could be up here, it could be on paper. So I don't so much fudge dice rolls anymore. I fudge math.
Okay. Oh, that hit or that missed or you saved or
yeah.
That's cool.
As long as you're consistent about it, they never notice.
Unless they watch.
None of my players are watching right now.
They're all mad. Yeah, they're all mad at you, Jason.
Hey, I'm a 1E DM for the last 40 years, but now I'm into 5E. I haven't had a live group in a long time, and I got the offer, the request to DM a 5E group, and I want to see I'd like to see D&D and Greyhawk move into the future. And I myself am not the future. I'm certainly a relic of the past, and the future really seems to be people embracing D&D through 5E. So I'm happily getting into a group, but I did 40 years of house rules with 1E. I would take anything I came across, and I think one of the last things I really incorporated into 1E was the DCC spell misfires and failures that they used. But now with 5E, and I've just started in on it, and it is a learning curve for me because it isn't straight up, AD&D. Is that I was really shocked to see that they don't have much respect for first level. I think it's 300 experience and you're done with first level, and that's just not something I can accept. So I got everybody to agree. I've bumped it back up to 3,000 because it's the learning curve. It's half the people I'm DMing are newbies, and I don't want them missing out on the one first level the experience of being powerless or low power in the game, because that is something that goes so far into the future of your role play. Is that if you have that low power experience, you appreciate things as a player so much more. To get a +1 dagger, to get something little magic item, that really makes that worthwhile. And we're all playing a game of paper tigers and gold that's just made from ink and numbers. And somehow we've got to get the players to actually see and feel and experience this imaginary world. And rushing through first level to me is not the way to do it. So I'm moving into 5e, and I've already started my first house roll, and I know that I have to resist myself of converting 5e into 1e AD&D, and that's my instinct. But I'm trying to avoid that.
I know what Jason means. I just played a session reels with a friend of mine who DM'd, and he's gonna have to he doesn't actually work anywhere near here. He actually lives up in works up in Nunavut, which is way north. Like Arctic Circle north. So he's only in for 2 weeks at a time. And so he's going to be doing one shots. So I brought a series of characters because I didn't actually know what was actually going to be needed or how many players were actually going to show. And there was only one other person who actually showed up for this session that he actually had. So I played a cleric. And all we fought were 2 orcs and 2 baby ankegs, and now I'm second one.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Yep. That's the problem. That is the problem. That is the problem. You nailed it, Jason.
Yeah, great point. But I thought it was with you didn't do experience in 5e. You did this threshold thing or whatever the heck they call it, right? So it doesn't.
That's an option.
They're still in there.
It's an option. Okay.
But you actually advance very quickly.
Right.
And of course, with that cap, it also it's like a 20th. But what I found was that with firsties, like what Jason said, you actually get to know your characters. You have to actually fight to survive. And we're so you are a person who becomes an adventurer, who becomes a hero, or you become a reaver, one of the two. But with 5e, you actually start off as a hero and you end up as a superhero, I find.
Yeah, but in this world we live in, for this generation, it's perfect for 5e, right? I mean, to get them into more fun stuff, I guess. Whereas us purists like the character development, and that's I'm not saying that right. I'm just saying, especially for a new player, Jason wants them to experience the entire game right from the beginning, and I get it. I really do. It makes a lot of sense, and it's great points all around on that, Jason. I appreciate that one, definitely. So let's think here. David, do you got any questions for everyone? Since I know you're limited in time. What's the question you have for all the other 3 bloggers here?
Honestly, I really didn't prepare questions, so I really couldn't say. I didn't realize we were supposed to actually.
Just for one. All right, here's one that Jason did. Jason, how about we do this one?
Okay, I've got a question. How many people actually really were involved in the Living Greyhawk era? Because I certainly wasn't.
I was not either.
I know Jason said that he was, but does anybody?
I totally missed it.
All of us did, and that's a thing that I don't know, kind of regret. But You didn't want, yeah.
It was at Gen Con, and me and all my friends showed up for a Living Greyhawk thing. We had our characters made in advance. We made all bards. We came there just to troll.
We should totally start a band.
Yeah.
It's man, it's interesting to see how many of us missed out on it, and I probably would have had the same thing happen with Jason because I have my home campaign, and I'm like, well, this thing's. What are you doing in Principality Ulick? What is this? The Pomars came in and took half of the Principality over. What's this shit? You know what I mean? That's what would have happened with me, and I would have gotten thrown out like Jason, right? So
definitely, you would have been tossed.
Oh, that's cool, but it's great. It's a great point.
It's cool. It's cool. I wish I had been there. I really wish I had been there.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody ran it up here where I live, up in Timmins. You know, I didn't hear anything from anybody, but I was actually, you know, not particularly involved in gaming at all at that time. So, you know, I bought the 3.0 books, and they were more of a curiosity. But I thought, oh my god, it also, it's like when people complained that 1E was like a real, you know, rules crunch. I thought, holy crap! But also, it's like 3 is 10 times the rules crunch.
So, oh my god, my brain just shut off when I was about to say something on that.
Someone named David.
Oh my god,
that's up in Ontario.
Yeah,
way up in Ontario.
Yes.
Well, like now, as somebody was doing the index and trying to get all these Greyhawk references, I do regret that this material is not available because as somebody who goes back to the original concept of Greyhawk being for everybody, I am so interested in all the variations of Greyhawk and adding that knowledge to all our bases of lore for what can inspire us for the future. And Living Greyhawk, despite my objections to my own triads area, they produced a ton of material. And unfortunately, I don't see it being available.
Well, you're in luck, okay? A little bit. I'm sorry, I took my own horn here. The 22nd of January, Wednesday, Legends and Lore, we will have the 4 of the Living Greyhawk coordinators on, okay? Casey Brown, Greg Marks, J.P. Chaplot, Vernon Vincent, and I don't know if this last one's Doug Lowell or Doug Cowell. So we may have even 5. Yes. So there you go, guys. I'm trying because I need to learn too. So
that is fantastic.
Good. Cool.
I kind of want to say I want people to think also that I'm actually, you know, vindicating like the rules with like the edition wars. If you'll notice on my blog, also I'm staying completely away from anything that's crunch. It's all just story. So if anybody wants to use the history that I'm actually pulling together again, which of course anybody can do. If anybody actually just picked up that what's it called, the Grey Crondex, you know, I think it was Steve Wilson who wrote that, and Jason Zavoda's Greyhawkania. You know, it's like that's basically my main sources, and then so whenever I'm coming across something else, it's like from one, then I go to Jason's and I find out where all the stuff is, and then I go searching. So anybody can actually do what I'm doing, but I just want to make sure that, because I know some people are still playing 3, some people are still playing 1, and everybody should play what they want.
David, people can't do what you're doing, believe me. Because you're really, honestly, your site is just amazing, and to hear that you've just been digging into this now, that is an absolutely amazing bit of work that you've done. It is what I would say is now required reading. It's something that I know that Steve Wilson did, his work with his Grey Chronic, but honestly, what you've got out there, that is just, it's absolutely amazing. I know I'm having, my players in this upcoming 5e read it as background. Not necessarily going to be much truth in it for the way I alter things in my campaign, but it gives them a good grounding. No, I'm just astounded by Greyhawk musings.
Yeah.
It's great stuff.
Yeah, David. David, we
I've
want
read
to
some of it.
we want to celebrate you. So welcome to the team, and it's fantastic. I would really like to. I'd like to start working closely with you, and then maybe we could collaborate.
There you go.
That would be
Speaking
awesome.
of collaborating, how does it feel to be published in Orth Journal, David?
Good question.
Oh, I'm thrilled. Absolutely thrilled. I've been writing for a long, long time, and I've actually come close to getting published. Like I've written a couple of novels, and I've written a slew of short stories, and I have like a drawer full of rejections, and some of them are so heartbreaking because they are just filled with praise. And one of the last novel that I wrote, it was someone said I just would love to publish this, but I'm actually publishing two war novels at the moment, and that was it. It's like, and everything just died right there. So, and then I started just I began even like, how do you put it? I began blogging my own life, which I actually put on Facebook. It went on for about 2.5 years. So that's what, if you look on my other, on my site, you'll see my other blog. So I've actually started putting those little snippets into there because I remember way back when, even when I was less than two, they're emotional memories but I began writing all this down, and then I finally got up to like 1,600 words every single day, because that's what they say, right? Writers write.
It's a lot. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it is.
And if you do not write, you'll lose the skill. And it's actually much harder than a lot of people think because it's the flow, and it's also transitions and all that other stuff. But also but I read a lot about actual writing, so I'm hoping and also that people actually really enjoy that little castle.
I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
So Tommy, do you have a question?
Wow. Okay. So I have a question for David. My question for David is when exactly did you start to dig into this material? Because all of a sudden, boom, you just came out of nowhere like a comet blazing its trail. And it's just like I don't know, where did you get all this all of a sudden? Bang. That's absolutely fantastic. I've got a comment. I've got a question for Jason. Jason, how in the heck do you do this every single day? I mean, it's just like every day I'm looking at saying, geez, holy cow, right?
I'm wondering the same thing. I'm going to piggyback off that question. Jason, do you have like a stockpile, a vault of articles?
I've got I've got 40 years of gaming experience. Jay just amazes me. His the way he's kept it going for so long, and the notes. I wish that I had something like that. Now, back in '86, my ex-fiance, she dumpstered everything that I had. So all my old stuff was gone, and then from that time, I really didn't keep things going, writing things down until about '95, when I started doing things on Greyhawk. It was an email share list. It was kind of the precursor to blogging. We would send out an email to Gary Hollian's MIT account, and it would be bounced back to everybody who was on the share list. And so it was, there had been a old fanzines called Alarms and Excursions, The Wild Hunt, and they did the same thing through published magazines. But with the email, we did this about every night. And for me, I have all this material. A lot of what you're seeing right now is revisions of old stuff. But I tell you, what up till about 2010, I was a math tutor. And unfortunately, diabetes has kept me from working since for 10 years now. And every time, and what I have, which you guys probably don't, is lots and lots of time. I'm pretty much, I don't drive. I don't get out there, but I do get my creativity going, and that allows me to really dig into what I like to do. And one of the things I love doing is every time something inspires me, I like to just write about it. Now, I don't do stuff like Dave with the deep research and the longer posts, and um, I've kind of held back on a lot of my fiction writing, but I do get these little bits of inspiration. So you're going to see, I'll see a picture, and I'll write you 3 or 4 or 5 paragraphs on what that picture inspires me, and that gets me going so that I can do that, and then a couple hours later, something else will tick in my mind, and I'll write a little post about it. So you're kind of getting mine's like the Twitter feed of Greyhawk posting. So you get a lot of bits and pieces that later I can update and revise and expand upon.
Great.
Oh, it's the spark of imagination too. There was one morning before I went to work, I saw this picture from Mr. Shipley, and on Facebook, and also I commented on it. Also, there was there was only one moon. So Jason commented about that. Next thing you know, he and I were bouncing back and forth an idea, and we almost developed it. Also, the entire idea also of a super module on the moon of Luna.
Don't you go to the moon of Luna on Return of the Eight, or is that Selene? What, you go to one of them? You do. I think it's Luna.
I can't remember which one.
Yeah, I think it's Luna on that one. But that would be great. I mean, that would be a great idea to do adventures on the moons.
We also put Doctor Who's the Pyramids of Mars on Selene at the same time, and then we put together that and
nice.
the barrier peaks, and also saying, well, there's a space station up there that's Luna, and there's a crash land. It also like on the barrier peaks, and then so from there, if you went up to the moon of Luna, the space station, there was a link that also could get you to Selene, where the pyramids were.
All right, somebody's got to cut this guy off. I think he's drunk.
But you know what? It's great creativity. I mean, absolutely, that's awesome. Just thinking about like where you can run with things because of a crazy adventure we had Vegapygmies running out of it in the late 70s. Out of that spaceship. So. By the way,
oh, absolutely! When I was playing Barrier Peaks for the very first time, and I did not know what was coming. I'll tell you what, I was pissed. It was like this genre crossing. I don't know. I felt betrayed by the dungeon master when I played Barrier Peaks for the first time. It was like, oh no! You can't do that. That's over the line.
I thought the basis was there because Arneston did a lot of science fiction crossover in all of his Blackmore too. So I think that was the core of their campaigns back then.
It absolutely was. I just didn't know that.
Plus, they always threw out trial bubbles. I mean, look, Merlin is from Boot Hill, right?
Sure.
The deity, the quasi-deity Merlin is an original Boot Hill character.
If you look in the DM's guide, the 1E, there's all this stuff. There's a couple. There's references to doing crossover campaigns, Six Guns and Sorcery, and kind of Dungeons and Droids, they were doing all these different genres, and they had a perfect expectation that you would be jumping back and forth.
As much as I thought.
Yeah, but I mean, they had you fighting Nazis. They had all this different stuff going on back then.
Gotcha. So I know we're going to lose David soon. So Jason, what question would you have for David and the rest of the crew out of yours? I know you got some here. Why don't we shoot?
Oh yeah, I have several. I mean, let me start with this. This is a basic thought process for creators. It's just what method are you? I'm a seat of the pants guy. I like I've been saying, I see something, it ticks something off, and I immediately jump on it. But some people plan, and I can understand that. It's not really my forte. Are you a planner, or are you more of a seat of the pants kind of creator?
I'm a little bit of both. I start off with an idea, like that, like you said, you see a picture and something comes to mind. But then I have to stop and think about where the ending is going to be before I actually even begin. Because if you don't have an ending, you'll just ramble on forever and ever and ever, and you're not making any choices to actually get where you're actually going.
Excellent answer.
Word.
One word answer. And Mike, how about you?
It is definitely a mood thing. Some days I wake up in the morning and I go down that rabbit hole. I'm researching like David. Other days I'm like, I got to get something out, and I might just make something up, make something up off the cuff. Now, as to the comics, I used to have a regular schedule for that, and now I don't really so much have anything scheduled.
Okay. So I'm going to keep on squeezing in stuff before David says he has to go here. So, David, how about this one for all of you? What's your favorite, and we'll keep this condensed down, historical event in Greyhawk?
Well, I think it's the Spine Castle.
Okay.
What? Just because you published that? That's it. That's it.
Well, remember, I'm learning all this as I go too. It also because I homebrew just about everything. So as I was reading all these, it also what I found it also was neat was that so you actually had the twin cataclysms, and also that destroys everything. It clears the slate, and that doesn't really actually is less interesting and also than what happened in Spine Castle, because I was already researching all this for my for the blog when Christoph actually asked me if I would submit something for it. Well, I was already deep into that, and what I realized also was I was reading all this. So here you actually have this backwater, of an empire, but meanwhile all these machinations are still actually going on in there. So not only it also the Bone March actually thinking about they were going to reconnect with Radek. They were actually being betrayed by the Herzog of the North Province. So, and then we hear that when I was reading, that they were betrayed from the inside, and never actually tells us anything about what actually happened in there. So it's you would wonder, why would the people of this impenetrable castle, this thing that was supposed to last forever, how come it actually fell overnight, and how come people threw open the doors to get out? So that is a huge story, and that can actually lead to a greater campaign, because once you start adding that well, then all of a sudden you can actually add in with the Underdark, and and then for my story, I decided to also what could be so absolutely terrifying, and with the Drow, it also that automatically led back towards the Elder Elemental God, and so that was a fragment of him. Or it. So that was my idea for it, and also but aside from that, I also was rereading the Color from Out of Space at the exact same time, because I saw Nicolas Cage is actually coming out with a new film that's actually all about that story. So all these things all twisted together at the exact same time, and I had an idea.
It's a good answer.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Awesome.
Tommy, what about you?
What about me? What?
Favorite historical event in Greyhawk?
Oh, absolutely. The Flight of Fiends. The Flight of Fiends. I want to know about the Flight of Fiends. I don't get it. There's the sources. The sources on it are absolutely sparse. And if somebody wants to volunteer to write for me a story of the Flight of Fiends, and with sources, so it's a sourced post, I would absolutely love that.
I have no idea.
That seems like to me that seems like the most significant, important event in the history of the Flyness, the Flight of Fiends. It's like, holy cow! This one magic item dispels all of these demons. All of it is That's fantastic. That's amazing. That's game changing. That's world changing. So I want to see Flight of Fiends. Somebody, please, who knows the story better than I do, come forward and write for me a story of Flight of Fiends.
Are
Is
you
that
sure?
Ayers?
Go ahead. Go ahead, David.
Is that Ayers?
Well, no. See, what the Crook of Rail is found in what's that? Isle of the Ape, right? Or is it
Yeah, this was initially, yes.
right? And then with Warner Starcoat and that crew, and it banishes all the, not all of them, but a lot of the lesser and greater demons are all over the place in the Shieldlands, and they're
Post Greyhawk Wars, after the Greyhawk Wars.
yes, after Greyhawk Wars. Now I think it's Bobby from Dallas in the Dallas episode being shown up back in the shower, and it was a dream. I think this is an undo.
Whoa!
I think this is an undo. I think it's an
Jimmy.
undo. That's what I think it was, Tommy. That's my opinion. I think it was a little bit of an undo that they go, oh, we went too far with this. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. And that doesn't explain how it happened, but I'm thinking that someone said we went too far with this. That's
Not only that, but I think the Crook banishing all the demons is great and all, but it doesn't stop them from coming back. I don't believe.
Well, for sure it doesn't stop them from coming back, but I mean, given the Greyhawk Wars, given the Horned Society, given the portals into, I have to ask, what happened here? What went down here? This is amazing. This is a huge thing, and it's like it's not dealt with. It's not dealt with in any sort of substantial way.
not
This
at all.
is it's like a footnote.
Yeah. I've never wrote about the Flight of Fiends that I can recall off the top of my head. So,
You know what? I guarantee you, within 2 weeks, we're going to see all these articles out on it, which is great. It's a great thing that you're bringing this up, Tom. It really is. It's awesome. But what do you think, Jason, on that? Do you think?
Well, you're getting past me.
You're not Greyhawk Wars at all. I forgot. So.
No, I look at Greyhawk. There's 576 and the folio and the 83 box set, and then there's everybody's individual campaigns. And it doesn't matter to me if it's somebody at TSR or
Right.
Wizard of the Coast or somebody just writing their home campaign. It's all the same thing to me. There's eras. There's the Greyhawk War campaign era from the published setting. There's the Carl Sargent era. There's the Eric Mona Hollian Living Greyhawk Gazette era. But everything's like looking at somebody's individual campaign. So Flight of Fiends, unfortunately, like you said, it's kind of a reset. But for me, it just is. It's one of the things that doesn't really inspire me for using future, post set 576 material.
Okay. Mike, what?
It's very much a Forgotten Realms thing. They have to blow things out of proportion. They should have kept it down on the low a little bit, I think.
Mike, what's your favorite event?
Oh, well, I guess I'm just going to have to go basic here now that Jason talked and just say it's the Battle of Emerald.
Yes, thank you. Mine too. And I know you and both Tommy wrote a lot about it, correct? Recently?
That's the event that kind of captures my.
Absolutely. Mine too.
You get that box set. I'm young.
Yes.
I'm reading. It's one of the first things you read about.
Yep.
And
Yep. And then that cannon fire, they have that detailed how the battle went. Is that where it's from, or did you write that? It's in.
I wrote that from the various sources.
It is awesome.
Box set.
And Tommy, didn't you write a story off of that or two?
No. I just basically edited what Mike had written.
Okay.
And, I threw it up there as like, and that's exactly what I want Greyhawk Stories to be, is like a place, a clearinghouse for people to be able to post their stuff and to say, like, here's how I see.
Right.
Here's the lore, not the canon,
Right.
but the lore,
Right.
as I see it happening. That's fantastic. So yeah, that's what I did. I threw that up with
Guy
Mike's
Gex was a war gamer, so he threw a lot of these battles, these historical battles in there, and he only detailed one of them that I'm aware of. But all these other battles have really interested me, and you get little bits and pieces in there. Battle of 1,000 Banners, Battle of Fortnight's Length. These are the kind of things that someday I would love to write about in detail. but it's definitely been something that's been on my mind for probably a decade. I just haven't had the energy to do it.
Creating content from scratch where you don't have that much reference, and
Yeah.
then getting accepting of it is something that's a little daunting, right?
Yes.
It is, absolutely. Jason, you're final on this topic.
Well, it's good because I just would say 576.
Okay.
I've done a lot of stuff on the Invasion of the Giants, the G series. I've got a novel. The Hill Giant Chief Nosra Saga is probably be about 300 or so pages if you printed it out.
Good stuff.
I've got a lot of other stuff that I started on that whole area, but it's hard for me because it's I love the whole thing. Like, what's my favorite? What's my favorite when I look at Anna's map or Darlene's map, and I see something that just like recently I've been going back to Verbabank, and I have done a lot of taken a lot of old material that I ran and finally written it down, and then the stuff on the Pomage and probably the only areas that I haven't really jumped into would be like the Great Kingdom. I know I think it's Anna who's doing a lot with Great Kingdom, but I don't know. For me, that was probably the area I'm least involved in. But like, White Plume Mountain, the Bandit Kingdoms, the Horn Society. I'm not a big fan of Uz. I've been doing a series on Blackmoor. I've changed it to where it's the land of 1,000 witches, and
Nice.
then the land of Black Ice is now it's kind of a portal opens up a portal to another dimension and a overwhelming villain. So it's very hard for me to look at anything on that map and just say, "Oh my God, this just inspires me." I just look at something and it jumps out at me. So it's very hard to say what is my favorite bit. I've been doing more historical work, so I even look at the past now and I say, boy, I want to jump back into the past. I've got to get a chronomancer in there and jump into the past of Greyhawk. I know David's work has inspired me to steal the information about the Persian empires and caliphates, and I just did a listing of the timeline of the kings of Ekbar, the rulers of Ekbar.
I love that.
Yeah, and that the thing is, you look at this and that is just all the bizarre stuff that's going on. That's history. That's the Persian Empire with the assassinations and the kidnappings and the exiles and blindings and the king after king after king or ruler after ruler. That is 1,000 years of Persian history, and that's what we have in Greyhawk. We have 1,000 years of history to look at, and I mean, I would say like when you're talking about the great opening with the invoked devastation and the reign of colorless fire, that wipes out 2 civilizations. Well, you have a starting point to get things fresh, but you also have this thing to step through a doorway into the past and look at, well, here I have the Sul Imperium. We're going to magically get ourselves and see what that was like. We're going to look at this incredible civilization that resisted and destroyed the Imperium that is now reduced to, I mean, Ekbar's their biggest Backloonish civilization. It started out as a fishing village after the invoked devastation. So you have not only you have 1,000 years plus of history just from that 576 box set. So it's very hard for me to say, what is my favorite. I'd say everything.
Okay, it's good enough. That's great.
Absolutely. Well, there was one other devastation too when Vecna basically eradicated the Elven Empire.
Yes, and that will be discussed on next week's Gabbin. Okay, man, you guys are like hitting all the points. So Anna and I were talking about it. So I just hit the wrong button. I always do. Next week we're going to delve into Elves of Greyhawk. And we're going to talk. Anna has a lot of data on this, and we're going to go in depth into that. Definitely in that Vecna area. I did not know. I thought Vecna, for some reason, was much more recent. I didn't realize that it was that early on in the discussion. The Elven Empire swung along the entire mountain chains of what the crystal mists and all. They had keeps all out through there. I didn't know any of that stuff, and Anna was kind of educating me on it yesterday, and so we're going to be talking about that. Definitely.
Mike knew all about it.
Excuse me.
Mike knew all about it.
Yeah, Mike did.
Yeah.
Mike did. See, I still after 40 years have a lot to learn. And that's one of the reasons why I love doing these shows. You guys all educate me on a lot of data, and that's Living Greyhawk, especially. I know nothing. I really got to learn some more on that. You okay? Still good, David, for a couple more?
Yeah, I'll stick. Well, I can stick around for a couple more.
All right, a couple more.
One thing I didn't answer though, was I think Tommy asked me when I actually started.
Yeah, good question.
Doing all the research. I literally started that in November.
Wow.
Oh man, welcome back, brother.
Is that Vecna storyline source? The answer is yes. Correct, guys.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Is that Taco Turtle is asking? Is the Vecna storyline source or lore?
No, that's for real. That's for real.
Yeah, absolutely. Taco, we're going to get into that in depth next week. Definitely. I'm looking.
Some of it also was added. It also by I'm not sure where the author actually got it, but there was a graphic novel. Someone commented directly to me. It also said that I should get my hands on it, and I looked for it, but I can't find it anywhere. So it's either pretty pricey on eBay, or else people are just hugging it.
I'll tell you what. You know what? You know what else is hard to get, David? It's hard to get a copy of Castle Greyhawk. I mean, I'm telling you what. You can be a Patreon of that and still not get a copy of that. What's going on?
Wow.
This?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Mike.
The comic. Yeah. I don't know. You have to talk to Scott Casper about that. But we'll cover that in a little bit. More about David.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Jason just put up a whole bunch of points on Vecna for everyone to look at there. So all right, let's just, because we're getting into some meat in Greyhawk. This one's really basic. David, give me your one of your favorite heroes and favorite villains in Greyhawk.
Heroes? Well, honestly, I can't really say that I have a hero in mind, but
could be from your campaign too.
Oh yeah, but
it's okay.
But the villains, it all said it's a toss up between Igwilv and what's his name? Kargoth.
Nice.
Kargoth's right out of an obscure Dragon magazine on Saints, and then it gets developed much more after that. Because I used him he's King of the Death Knights. I used him back then when I didn't realize that there was all this extra developed information on him. So that's pretty cool. How about you, Jason? How about on that one? You got a favorite fiend and villain? I mean, hero and villain of Greyhawk?
Sure. For hero, and I think I said this on the last show I was on, is Bigby.
Okay.
And then, just because Bigby I used in my campaign and campaigns over the years, the way that people used Mordenkainen, because I'm not a high-level person. I've been a DM. I've rarely been a player, except at the very beginning back in the 70s, and since then I've pretty much stuck to DMing. And Bigby I'm not a high-level guy. I don't jump into the very super high. I've rarely gone over 9th or 10th level. The players have reached that high. Bigby was such a useful figure for low, medium quests, and in the way I ran him. And I'm a big fan of Bigby. And then for villain, one of the longest campaigns I ever did was back at the beginning, was the Giants campaign. And we played for about 3 years. And Eclavdra, she had to be, I don't like the idea of a recurring villain. And in a sense, she wasn't, because they rarely encountered her, but they saw her machinations. Her hand was in everything from the beginning of G1, where my players get into that room behind the Great Hall, where, there's the manicore hanging that covers the steps down to the lower level.
Yeah.
There's the great map that shows all the plans, and there's the first evidence of the hand of the drow, and that is Eclavdra's message left there, and that starts her as this iconic villain, and behind everything that's going on. And when it took us years to go through G1, G2, G3, and then into the drow,
The vault itself.
and that is something I've been meaning to do, and I've been thinking about it. Is when you get into the Underearth, and as much as I love what they did, that map is two-dimensional thinking. I don't know if you remember the Wrath of Khan, where Khan gets hit because Khan is not thinking three-dimensionally. Well, in the Underdark series, in the Drow, it's a three-dimensional setting. You have passages that are a level above, a level above, a level below. You have all these things, so that there's this world, vast world that is up and down and sideways. And so we took so much time, and Eclavdra's presence was so heavy in my campaign in the Underdark that it was years. So she is my favorite villainess.
I have a follow-up question to Eclavdra after we get everyone else in. Tommy, what's yours?
What was the question?
Villain and hero, just one of your favorites.
That's obvious. I've been posting Eggville for like
okay.
so that's obvious. Hero, I don't know. I mean, my heroes are my players.
That's fine. That's a great answer. I mean, and that for a lot of DMs, that's going to be where it is. Absolutely. Cool. How about you, Mike?
Well, I'm loath to pick my players' characters because a lot of them end up power tripping and become just as bad as the villains. But if I had to pick like NPC heroes who are like benefactors and whatnot, you can't really go wrong with some of the Circle of Eight people. Big B, Tenzer, Jalars, I like using. As the villains, my favorite villain, I have used Igwil a lot, to the point where some people still obsess about stuff we did decades ago. But my personal favorite is Eli Tomarast from Mar Castle, the Demon Hands.
Okay. Excellent.
It's just different.
It is, definitely. Okay, here's the follow-up, gentlemen. And if you want to keep it a one-word answer, that's fine. If you want to elaborate, it's fine. We'll start with David. Eclavdra, Elder Elemental God or Loth? Go ahead.
The Elder Elemental God.
Okay. Jason?
He is an Eclavdraite. She's not trustworthy to anybody in my campaign. She's definitely a Loth rebel, which was the old-timer religion for the Drow. And she's, in my campaign, taken up with the Elder Elemental God because it gives them power in my campaign without too much direct interference at this point. They're the new brand on the market, so they're not. She is for Eclavdra in my campaign, and that's. Although she's not Loth, she's not trustworthy for anybody.
Okay.
But the only thing that actually explains those tentacled wands that they had, the rods, is the fact and also that she's with the elemental god, because that's right in the description of the active temple in the, which one was it? The third one. You know, when you just have no save when if they touch the wall, also it's like the tentacle comes out and rips a PC and drags them into some netherworld, and you're never going to see him again.
Yeah. And there's a tentacle wall in the Temple of Elemental Evil too, which really is kind of eerily similar, you know, and it really they don't explain it too much as well. Hey, Tommy, what do you think on this? Either or
yeah,
neither?
I think she's gonna go whichever way the wind is blowing, whichever way the wind is blowing at the time. She's an opportunist.
Good answer, Mike.
I'll defer to Jason on that one.
Awesome. Good questions and answers all around. Now, Icarus had a question back. Guys, are you all theater of the mind, or are you graph paper with drawing, or are you hardcore miniatures, tabletop like I am? David, what would you say on that?
Theater of mind.
Okay.
All mine. I let my players do all their own mapping, and also if they pass me the piece of paper to fix their map, I give it back to them.
Nice.
Excellent. Jason, how about you?
Well, I try to create things in the minds of the players, but I love miniatures and display. I just dreamed that I had your setup there. I mean, that is just absolutely it's incredible. It's just, there's this place in Pennsylvania by Gettysburg called Roadside America. And when I was a kid, every summer, my dad would jam all of us into a small car. And, you know, I have a family of 6. And we would drive out to Gettysburg. And there were 2 things, a little restaurant with shoe fly pie and Roadside America. And if you've seen Jay's setup, Roadside America is like that for Americana. But Jay's, you can actually play with this stuff. So I would love to have that kind of setup. I have one good piece. I'm sorry to go on with this. I have one good piece. It's the Warlord Tower from Conte. And it's about a 3-foot high tower that looks like the Black Tower from the Vault of the Drow. And I have at least a decent amount of small miniatures. And I've been able to set this tower up and have, as a tournament thing in the past, have one-shot players fight to the death. They never get out of the Black Tower because they're the players that stayed too long. And so the tournament is how many of these Drow troops can you kill before they bring you down.
Oh my gosh!
And I love miniatures, but I do try to evoke things in the minds of the players. But there's a visual representation is just, it's so helpful.
Tommy, how about you?
Yeah, absolutely. If I have, we don't have miniatures. I did when I was younger. I don't have them anymore. But if I had them, absolutely. That's so helpful. So very, very helpful.
It's good, though, that theater of the mind is to the point where if you look online, I mean, 99% of the Twitch broadcasts are theater of the mind. And it has added a whole bunch of people who don't have to have a lot of money to play the game. So it really is a good thing. Mike, how about you?
Yeah, I'd say 90% of the time I'm theater of the mind. That rare 10% where I have time to plan something, I might have some maps made up. But where it would be like nails on a blackboard to you, Jay, is I use mostly counters. I have counters from Battle System and the counters from Greyhawk Wars and stuff.
They work?
I just a bunch of them.
A good place to get, like if you have the Falcon series, there's cardboard, the whole cardboard city, Greyhawk. A lot of it's in there too. You know, there's a lot of good
3-dimensional.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most of my mini experience, and we have had setups like yours, Jay, but it was all Warhammer.
It's cool. Go ahead, David. I'm sorry.
When I started, there was no game store up here. Like literally, it also like when I got introduced to the game, a friend of mine got the red box and the DM's guide and 2 modules. It was because the red box, and also we got the Keep on the Borderlands, and she picked him up Bonehill, Lakofka's first masterpiece there.
You mentioned Leonard, I didn't.
And so, well, you know, like we started playing with that, but there was no miniatures because there was no store. Our first store started literally 3 years after we began, and that's when we started like feverishly buying up all these modules and stuff. But prior to that, the only thing we had at us that was close to a miniature was dice. We would just place the dice around.
We always use 4-sided dice for Sturges, so you know you have to use. You know, there's a lot of things that still, you know, it's just a crazy world out there now. But you can get a lot with 3D printing coming along. You can get a lot of stuff, but of different things. But yeah. I mean, whatever you have to utilize, you use it, and it's a lot of theater of the mind, even if with miniatures out there, because miniatures only represent positioning. You know. So, David, you got any other questions you want to ask? I know you stayed a half hour longer than you said, so I really appreciate it because you're enjoying yourself, right? I knew this was going to be a great conversation for all of us. So,
I'm curious how long it took Jason to actually compile that index.
Good question.
Oh, the index?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's back in 96 or 97 on the Greyhawk email list. We had been doing various projects, and somebody suggested doing an index reference for Greyhawk material. So about 4 or 5 of us got in on it, and I did one, and then I did another one, and then another. And the guy goes and says to me, "Well, you're doing these too quick." And I just said to him, "Well, look, I'll just do it myself then," because that's kind of my attitude back then. And so I just grabbed that and ran with it. And what it was, I'll tell you, when I had various things going on in my life that were upsetting, I could turn to referencing as a kind of neutral activity, because to do it, you really aren't. It's very hard to do that and something else. It's very hard to do the indexing and have a television show on. It's very hard. You have to just sit there and do it. So it's really mind clearing, and believe me, it was an enjoyable process. I have a little touch of OCD, and it was a wonderful, very cleansing experience to sit there and just reference, very, kind of a noun referencing thing. And I just went through there, and whenever I wanted to, I'd sit down there and do up a list. And the way I would do it is I would sit down and hand write out all the references first, and then I would go back and enter everything into the computer. So it was a bit of a laborious process, but it just started piling up. It was just one thing after another, and perhaps the biggest things were Gygax's books. And you have to understand, I'm going for like there's modules are mostly empty. They have a lot of monsters but very little references. Whereas Gygax's books had references every page. It was just all this source material. So the biggest things, the biggest projects were that, and then very disappointingly for me, even though I don't use it, was Sargent's Ivid the Undying document, because I didn't have a physical copy, and the reference work I was looking at had no page numbers. So I couldn't say, look for this reference on page number such and such in Ivid. I could just say, well, it's in Ivid, and you're going to have to get the document and do a word search. That's disappointing for me because word searches aren't necessarily accurate, or there is a reference list that is invaluable from, I can't remember his real name. He goes by Echohawk.
Mm-hmm.
And he referenced all this material. I look back and it's like, well, I missed that.
Right.
And especially his Dragon Magazine Greyhawk references. It's not 100% accurate, but neither is mine. Like these indexes and things, they're a living document that everybody should. It's kind of like Wikipedia, except it's just references. It's not the source material. But everybody should look at it and say, well, that page number is wrong, or that reference is inaccurate, or you missed this. And then I also tried to reference pronouns so that, like, if an individual or an area was individuals mentioned on one page, but his name isn't mentioned on the next, I wanted to make sure people knew that they could find more information on the next page. So there's things that you can't just get out of a word search. But yeah, that was probably, I stopped indexing around 2003, so I put in about 6 years of work on that project.
Because I remember Anna saying, and also that she's been, meticulously going back through source material to find, like to triangulate on just a village.
This is how dedicated. I'm going to shoot out Anna again. She just we had our meeting for our fundraiser event, she bought all of Carlos Lacing's modules, or she got to find locations to cross-reference all them for her maps, and that's how dedicated Anna is to getting more detail on those maps.
That's
So
fantastic.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. So, hey, shout out Anna again. That was an awesome thing, and we found out about that yesterday when Carlos told
Shout out
us.
about Carlos too, because I'll tell you, I don't think a lot of people know, but Carlos's modules. If you're a Greyhawk fan, you really should jump on those modules of his. And I will say that in exchange for DMing 5e, I have a relative who is working on an 2020 update for my index, and it is going to include at least a few of Carlos's modules. I'd like him to get all of them indexed, but I can only craft the whip so much.
Casey Brown has been putting his modules that he did for Living Greyhawk and also into Pathfinder, right?
Yes. Yeah. Here's a quick Casey story. So Casey's going to come down and play in this fundraiser. He's driving down from Boston to play at my house in the finale. He gives me this freaking character, and they had 3.5. There's like 8 different subclasses, all level 2, and I'm like, what the hell is this? I was like, oh my god, my head almost exploded. You're a specialty priest of Kellen in level 10, done. That was just like, oh my god, I don't know how you guys do it with 3.5. It's crazy. Wow, nutty stuff.
I just bought half of Carlos's modules, and also I got to do them in stages, and also because the shipping and the duty is a killer.
Canada. It's a shame. It's a shame though you couldn't. I know. How about what's the closest convention? Is Game Hole the closest? I know it's a year away or months away. That's up in that Michigan area. Or Adepticon's coming up too, but he won't be at the Adepticon. Will be at Gary Condor at the same time. Yeah,
actually,
just to hand
the
them
biggest
off.
convention is actually in Toronto, but
which one? Oh, yeah,
Toronto.
Okay,
but there's enormous Comic Cons in Toronto. So
cool. I just don't think
I doubt that any of you guys come up here.
No. We have my company I work for has a facility in Toronto, but I try. I've been to Canada. I've been to Hockey Hall of Fame. There you go. So in Toronto. It's worthwhile trek once in your life. You got the PDF versions, Anna. Good to hear. I mean, I just wanted to tell that story as your dedication to getting that map detailed. And speaking of that, Mike had his map up where he actually, placed Altamira on it. That was cool, and that's why I put that up as the first one. Of course, that was awesome. And Tommy asked me about it too, which was cool. So there's talk about it out there, and I really appreciate it. Tommy, you got any other questions for any of the rest of the group?
Look. My main thing is I just want to say to Mike, dude, you're my hero.
Wow.
No fooling.
That makes me.
I absolutely every day I check to see if you posted something.
Mike, I miss your cartoons.
Mike, what was your
burnout's a real thing.
I think Mike needs to flesh out Uhl even more.
Oh God!
We need a source book. Source book.
He also needs to do a source book for the Sea Princess.
Yeah, there's that too. Let me write all this down.
There was a question posted about that. Someone wanted a Keelan map for me. You said you may have a Sea Princess map, so.
Well, I've done a lot of home gaming in the Sea Princess area, and I've done Sea Princess maps that are on my blog. If you just know where to go look in the best of Greyhawkery tab, I had some links to those maps. They're like these little maps I do.
Oh yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, they're just tiny little things.
Postcard maps. It's awesome.
This is graph paper I got at GaryCon from Alan Growy, and so here you go, Altamira.
Beautiful.
So these are just quick little things I can do in half an hour. I'm not. I'm at the point now where I don't like doing anything that I can get done in a night.
Because you're transient and it bounces around a lot, right?
No, just I loathe to start something and worry that I won't finish it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't do big projects lately.
Yeah.
with all the, I mean, it is not easy, and that's why I respect the hell out of all of you for putting your thoughts down and writing a lot. I mean, that takes a lot of planning, a lot of detail oriented, tasks.
Well, there's a reason why. There's a reason why mine only comes out once a week.
Work
It
schedule.
literally takes that long for me to go through all the references and then reorder them and then try to stitch them together. And honestly, it's like I worked like an extra 6 hours on Friday night and my entire Saturday morning until I had to go rushing out to that game that I played, trying to get the part 11 out.
Right.
And I'm almost done, but I think I told Jason I almost lost everything with the thumb drive. Thumb drive failed on me, and and I was lucky enough that I actually bought like a 4 terabyte storage unit, and I put everything all on there about 2 weeks ago. So I literally lost 2 weeks worth of ordering and like keeping my timeline right and filling up the spaces, and so that's why I literally put out what I considered a cheat, saying I'm published as opposed to putting out the next history because I'm almost done. And then I got right down to the last bit, and that's where Vecna starts coming back in right at the tail end of the Greyhawk Wars. And that was going to be the last earth-shattering thing. And then I realized, oh my God, I actually have to read all of Vecna Lives and Die Vecna to Die.
Whoa!
I'm never going to get this done.
How about this? And we all make a pact together, all 5 of us, for the next Earth Journal, which is going to be the Gary Con version. It's alternate Earths, and we all have our own versions. We all pledge to each other to get one article to the Earth Journal for the next one. How's that sound?
Well, we can try.
I don't know.
That's the thing about because I really love fiction, and it's hard to actually hammer something out unless all of a sudden you get that literal spark of imagination that says, "Hey, I can actually do something with this."
And once you get rolling, you're like, then the juices flow.
I am so I just want to send my gratitude to Earth Journal and Greyhawk Online and just say thank you for bringing for the effort that you're making. It's absolutely great to see this coming back around after all these years.
Well, that's Christoph.
Yeah,
and Brian Blomklatz. Definitely. And
let's not forget Cannon Fire too. Mm-hmm. That's another extreme wealth of information.
Definitely.
It is, and it's sadly very languishing. The website, the Cannon Fire website.
Yeah,
up again.
Yeah. There's some goings on there too. We probably should let that lie tonight.
Oh, okay.
Very positive discussion so far.
But still, there's a lot of creative material that's actually on Cannon Fire.
Absolutely.
That's where I get everything from. Absolutely, everything comes from Cannon Fire. Cannon Fire is my go-to source.
It's
Cannon Fire is where I got my start.
Yeah.
Where most of my early UL stuff was created for that site.
Any one of the 4 of you have a question for the rest of the group? I have 1 or 2 more, but if you guys have it, I'd love you guys to ask instead.
Well, I had something I think we started talking about, but I started out in 77 with Holmes Basic and with B1 module, and we got that module down to about 13 levels. And there really, back in the 70s, wasn't a huge amount of material out there, at least stuff that was available. I bought my stuff from a train store in Old Bridge, New Jersey, and I didn't really get there wasn't really a game store going. So I just wondered from everybody, I know there's Redbox, there's Holmes Basic, that a lot of people mention. Where did you start off with Greyhawk and with D&D or AD&D?
Tommy, why don't you start it and we'll go clockwise.
Yo, it was my friend Tony.
So
And
Tony.
yeah, my friend Tony. He had so there's a hobby shop near him, and he had all the stuff. It was fantastic. It was wonderful. It was like I go visit my friend Tony. He's like, "You want to play Dungeons and Dragons?" And we're all about it. That's where it started.
Which set was it?
We started with basic. We absolutely started with the red box, and but he quickly moved on to the advanced stuff. I couldn't afford even the red box, and he's got like these books and whatnot. Holy cow! So I started. I took that home to my friends, and I was like, "Here's what we're gonna do." So I made up my own homebrew to emulate Greyhawk because one, I couldn't afford it. Two, I didn't want to read all that material. I'm in 7th grade, for crying out loud, right? So that's where I started.
Mike, how about you?
Started with this,
Nice.
and but I quickly got my first AD&D Dungeon Master Guide from my friend who got me into Greyhawk, Charles. But he moved away shortly after I got kind of rolling into it. But I never gave up on Greyhawk after that. I just started getting my own stuff when and where I could. I think the closest bookstore to me was like half an hour away, almost an hour away. So it was always a big deal going to the bookstores to get game stuff.
Excellent. David.
Well, like I said, a friend of mine and got the red box and the DM's guide, Jade, and those couple of modules. Those from his sister, who actually was down south. She bought it, brought it up. He asked us if we wanted to play, and we got hooked. And so, but the nearest store we could actually buy it from was in Sudbury, and that's like literally a 4-hour drive away.
Oh my gosh.
So we had friends who were older than us who also played, and they knew where this business called Comics North was. And so I sent this guy Tim, who was I asked this guy Tim, who I was working with, to go and pick the stuff up for me, and I had no idea what it cost. And when he brought the books, it also and showed me the bill. It also that was like 2 weeks' pay.
But you had it. You still have that stuff to this day? Do you still have it?
And then that's where I got started.
Do you have it to this day, that stuff?
Pardon?
Do you have that stuff to this day?
Oh yeah, I still have everything. Everything's in pristine shape.
Great.
I've even got an absolutely mint copy of the Deities and Demigods, the year that it came out. So it's got all the original
144.
Stuff. Mine's in pristine shape. Everything's all my like I said, I treated my books like they were sacred. So they're all still in great shape.
That is the most expensive hardback.
I still have my World of Greyhawk box set, but it's taped together. All my books, the covers have fallen off, and my maps were in such bad condition I had them laminated.
Yeah, well, mine are in the basement. Mine was the prison edition with the dragon, that dragon in the middle, right, with the wizard and all around it, and it's one before the one you have, Mike, right, and no dice chits, so the prison edition. Yep, and that was 78, and then it's history from there. So go ahead, Jason. How about yourself?
Well, I'm a Holmes Basic guy. I had seen the Brown books, and they just didn't, do anything, and nobody I knew was playing. And then that Holmes Basic set, that's the one. It's got the classic badly drawn cover with the dragon at the center and the two adventurers, the magician and the fighter, looking on at this thing. I don't know why, but that just, it was like a eureka moment, it like shone out with gold to me. And I started out with that and randomizer chits in it because they had run out of dice. And, back then those dice were wackadoodle stuff, I'll tell you, because
zeros on the 20-sided die on both sides.
It's like four-sided dice. Four-sided dice, what the hell is that? 12-sided, 20-sided. It was very weird stuff.
Yeah.
So I brought that, and then I had this group of friends and we all just dived into it. And that was back in '77. What? It was an incredible year with Star Wars coming out, and it was Nerdvana back then. So we started out from that, and it just went on from there. And first Greyhawk thing I ever had was G1, and I was a player back then, and a friend of mine was running it, and my God, that started us off in Greyhawk. And then the folio. I mean, probably a lot of people are only familiar with the '83 set, which is a nice box set, but that folio, it is covered with heraldry and has the picture of the map, Darlene's incredible map. You open this thing up, and it's just a little folio booklet, but that map, I'll tell you, I loved what was in the folio booklet, but the map just drew me in. Darlene's map was a combination of artwork, and it just was. Every spot I saw on that map just inspired me.
Yeah, I don't know what version that one is, but there's one popped up right there. So I think that's
the folios are pretty much. I mean, there are a couple printings of it, but it's pretty much the same thing in each one.
Yep.
You open it up, there's more heraldry in it, and between the map and the heraldry, it just sucked me in. And then what Gygax did with it was he just gave you this outline. He forced you to be creative. It was like, oh my God, this is inspirational, but there's nothing here. There's names, and there's events, and there's a little description, and there's a little structure, which when you delve into it isn't actually that structured, but there's populations, and there's maps of what they produce, and it just starts you off with this world, but it's not there. You have to make it. It's a skeleton, a framework, and I don't know. That's what dug me into Greyhawk G1, and then that folio, and I was hooked. 40 years hooked onto it. And, I've written a novel, novella, and working on 5 or 6 more that I've gotten bits and pieces. I'm doing Ghosts of Saltmarsh. I've got 4 parts of the story I'm writing on that route right now. And I'll tell you, 40 years in, and I've done other things, but it always comes back to that Greyhawk setting is just such inspiration for me.
Jason, is the G series your top cream of the crop on series or modules that were published?
Well, part of it is that Gygax's style, just for back then at least, was just like magic. I had T1, the G stuff. I mean, just that little bit with when you break into this room in G1, and it's an armory, and there is a giant's throwing hammer, and if it comes and it's thrown at a dwarf, it says, "Here's a kiss for you, Brunt."
Yeah.
That was Gygax. That was just one line out of it, and it won my heart. And so,
right on.
The GD series, not a big Q fan, although I like the Demon Web. And that's where our campaign fizzled out. Everybody started exploring those various worlds.
So did we. Sayers CD.
Yeah, it's just it's something that started me in it. So there's that love for it. But really, it's hard for me to settle into one part of Greyhawk. I generally like most of it, and I've done so much with everything except really the Great Kingdom that and I mean that's a huge part of it. But I've been all over the map, and so it's very hard for me to tie down G1 because it's my first full module. B1 was the first thing we did, and if you know B1, that you have to fill it in. It's a training
Search
module.
of the unknown. Yep.
It's there to get you going on how to do things, and when we had that, we had nothing else, and we were the typical guys of, well, let's make another level. Let's make another level, and for us, B1 went down 13 levels.
So it's almost like Alan Crowley's Castle Greyhawk.
Yes.
Right.
Cool. How about you, David? Do you have a favorite module from Greyhawk?
Well, it's probably the reptile god.
Against Call the Reptile God. Great one.
But it's just, the thing is, it's like I've read them,
One.
but I never ran any of them. like I said, I was home brewing, and also it's like, and so honestly, my campaign, like I said, even though like it looked very much like Radek, it actually had more of a Thieves World Sanctuary / Langkar, and Lovecraftian feel to it. It also then actually, but that's the thing, and it's like if I noticed that most of the modules are all shoved into the Sheldamar Valley. Like even B1, which was originally supposed to be either in Radek, 10, or the Pale, was retroconned again. And also when they actually put out the 25th edition, they put it in Yeomanry. So it's like it's not like they actually spread the wealth around all of the
That's true.
Greyhawk. So if you think about it, Greyhawk is just except for the Sheldamar Valley and Greyhawk City, it is literally a homebrew campaign, the whole thing.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. It's a great
point. That's great. It's like, because honestly, if you start dumping way too much detail on me, then I actually start to freeze as a DM. I like to be able to just, like Jason was asking me before, am I a seat of the pants guy? I actually have a structured story, but honestly, it's like I don't know where the hell I'm going with it. I know how I'm going to end it, but I don't know how to get from point A to point B. And actually, I'm going to have to be going pretty soon. I'm like an hour after I said I was going to be going in the first place, but this was fun.
I'm going to ask you one more question, and then we'll continue. What would you like to see for the future of Greyhawk?
There you go.
Personally, and also, I'd like to see a 600 update book. It's like, but I don't want them to actually throw another Greyhawk Wars at us at all.
Right.
So also it's like, I'd rather actually just see them open up the IP. And also it's like to Mr. Brown and Mr. Lysing and Mr. Block. And also it's like, and let them get their stuff out. And also it's like, and then people can choose to use or not use as they see fit, just like Gary wanted us to do.
Yeah, it's a great point. Well, I know you got to roll. Thank you so very much. This was awesome. We'll do it again. I guarantee you. We'll do it again in the future. This was a great discussion. So
this was great, David.
All right, it was fun, but you got to get
up early. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good one, man. Thank you.
Good night.
See it. Tommy, what do you think on that greatest module that you love out of Greyhawk?
Greatest module I love is the Drow series, man. I tell you what, that stole my heart. It was fantastic. I was absolutely swept away by it. It was the first module series that I ever dungeon mastered, and I've never been able to escape it, as this is Dungeons and Dragons.
It's iconic because it was so different and it was scary and it was like open. It's like D3 is my campaign's, like my Bible for Drow in my campaign, because it's like Deathlances are in there. They're not anywhere else published. You know what I mean? They just don't exist anywhere else. There's a lot of things.
None of that. I mean, up to that point, none of that existed anywhere else. It was like it was a whole new, oh my gosh, what's going on here? That was fantastic. I can't even, it's like I have this nostalgia for it, where I love Drow elves in an unhealthy way.
Here's my evil question of the day. Do you allow Dark Elf player characters, and do you allow them to be good?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Hey.
Just wanted to know. So wait, on both of them, or do you don't allow Dark Elf player characters at all? Correct?
On both of them.
Okay.
I would not allow it on either. That's like that's bending the rules too much. It's bending the world too much.
Okay.
I get the idea of like, oh, there's a couple of these that are like are weirdos or whatever,
Weirdos.
But let's not mess with the world that much.
Okay. Great answer. Mike, how about you?
On
modules?
Well, that's a tough one. I guess my favorite to run was Saltmarsh.
Mm-hmm. The original U series. I know you love Ghosts too, but we're just talking. Okay. Yeah.
But it's weird because I've ran some of them multiple times. I've ran White Blue Mountain multiple times, Greyhawk Ruins multiple times, Tomb of Horrors a few times because that's the way it is.
Tell me about it.
But I don't know if I would say I enjoy them. I think I ran those because they were easy. You know, these are tournament modules. They're easy just to
Like the A series.
throw out there.
Yeah.
So probably Saltmarsh.
Okay. For me, it's either, and I know people hate it and pan it, but I think it's in Gary. You know, even though it came out 7 years late, mine's either Temple of Elemental Evil or Shokanth. They're my two. So, all righty.
Good choices.
Yeah, thank you. So let's wind down a little bit here, and we're almost hitting that 2 hours. So it flies by, doesn't it, guys? I mean, that's why I love doing these shows. I know Mike loves doing Legends of Lore. The time flies by when you're having a great time discussing things.
More the merrier.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to ask the same question that I asked to David when he left, and we'll start with you, Tommy. What would you like to see for the future of Greyhawk?
Oh, you know what? I'm not sure that the Wizards of the Coast abandoning Greyhawk has actually been a bad thing. I know that's the deal. It's like, oh, if only they'd open the DM's Guild, and if only they would come back to Greyhawk. But I'm not sure here's the problem. Here's the downside of it. It's like there's a blessing and a curse. The curse is that the new generation or next generation of Dungeons and Dragons players are not going to enter the Flyness. And you know what? We're getting old, and and we're not going to be around. And I worry about the Flyness. I worry about the next generation. It's like, who's going to defend the Flyness in the next generation? So that's a concern. But on the other hand, we get to do whatever the hell we want. And so, I guess that's the blessing, is that by Wizards abandoning the setting, is that we get to enjoy a sort of pseudo-canonical worldview.
And I know that Carlos is dead on with you 100%. And I want to be Mr. Positive, but I'm really where you are too, because we all have our developed stories. We all have our developed campaign settings, and it's hard to. The From the Ashes box set threw a wrench into my game, right? Because it's like, what the hell's this shit, right? Right in the middle of all this. And you had to adapt to it, or then because you were worried about the stories beyond that were going to really mess you up. So I had to put that stuff in, a lot of it, but a lot of it I didn't. But you had to pick and choose certain things. So it's I understand. Excuse me. I'm sorry, Tom.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. I mean, so it's a blessing and a curse, right? I mean, it's like there's an upside and a downside here.
Definitely, but to get the new generation involved, there has to be some kind of opening up of Greyhawk, and that's just a necessary evil, I guess would be the right words for it.
Yeah, it's not evil, but you know what? I mean, that's exactly why I've started to play 5e and learn 5e, is because I'm thinking, you know what? There's a whole new world here. There's a whole new generation. These are my kids, and these are my grandkids. And I want them to enjoy this world as well.
Very well put. I love that. Absolutely. Makes 100% sense. Because what we all have here is worth saving and worth moving forward with in some aspect. And that's why all of us, all of you, the Greyhawk Online, the Earth Journal, Anna, Carlos, Brian Blumklotz, Alan, Christoph, everyone is very vital to all this. So, absolutely. Jason, what do you think about that question?
Well, I have like a dual outlook for the future. The one is what we're doing right now, and it's just amazing to see how things are coming together. Anna's work, Greyhawk Online, what you've just managed to do with Twitch and your 40-year campaign, what Mike's doing, Tommy, David, what I've been trying to do in a more eclectic way. That's the hobbyist side, and that is the essence of the beginnings of the game. It's one thing I think that Gygax tried to preserve, is that sense of individual creativity. Then there's the other side, Now, I think we've been doing as much as we can. I personally agree with Tommy that 5e, we're going to have to embrace it to embrace the future generation. I'm not going to be around forever. I'd like to see my writings and things be useful to a future generation. So I'm starting to delve into 5e myself. That's our side. That's the hobbyists. That's what we can do. I'd like to see them open it up to the DMs Guild, but that's the hobby. We can do things without that. Then there's the published side, and I think the big mistake has been is to take Greyhawk and try to do what they did with Dragonlance and Forgotten Realms, is this contiguous thing where every new thing, and especially with like the ones with the novels, that they try to embrace this continuously aging campaign with alterations and new material. But what it does is it forces the players, the DMs really, to make a decision.
Yeah.
This new thing came out, it contradicts what I'm doing, but my players want it. I have to alter my campaign to retrofit this new material in. You force the DMs away from creativity to just following what's being published. With Greyhawk, as you know, I object to the concept of canon. As somebody who's read everything and tried to reference everything, there's so many different viewpoints in the published material that it's very fractured. It's the people forgot things, missed things, didn't care about things, so that it's a very fractured setting. But what I'd like to do is I'd love to see the published setting be broken into eras, or to be broken into campaigns. I'd like to see the Gygax era, so they could publish something that is 576, and kind of what they did with Ghosts of Saltmarsh. But at the same time, the next thing they could come out with is something that is contiguous with Sargent's work, and say, well, this is, this is something that was introduced with Sargent. There's the Sargent era. There's the Greyhawk Wars era that introduced some good things, and at that time, I know the city of Greyhawk, it kind of, here you have something that a lot of people love, and you have Greyhawk Wars that a lot of people hate, but they're both linked together. So what do you do? Well, I say that in the future publications, if they simply said, this is a module, this is a supplement for 576, this is a supplement for Greyhawk Wars, this is a supplement for the Sargent era, this is a supplement for the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer era, or the Player's Guide, the Tab era, which introduced a lot of things like Slavers, Scarlet Brotherhood, and then in the future they could say this is the supplement for the 600 Common Year era, and you could do everything. There's so much material. There's a world here with a huge past history that 576 was never finished. It was just, you could come out and publish material for 576 from here for 100 years, and they could publish material that used Sargent as a base. They own all of this. They might as well use it, and they have different people who love different things. And one of the things about Greyhawk is you chop and you fit and you put things in. It's like David was saying, David talking about his own campaign being Lockmar and Lovecraft, but that is Greyhawk. That's, if you look at the Appendix N references, you realize Gygax, he went to history and he took all these historical settings like Paranland, which is Switzerland, and he took everything and he dumped it into Greyhawk because it added reality, verisimilitude, and you could just all of a sudden say, well, what's it like? Well, Furandy, it's like medieval France, and Paranland's like medieval Switzerland, and you could
shortcut
into these things and say, oh my God, I can use all this material. So I just think that hobbyists, we do what we're doing now. Published, if they wouldn't try to force us into a straitjacket of an aging history and abandoning the past, if they look and see that they have eras that they could do 576, they can do 600, but they don't have to lock us in like they did with Forgotten Realms, and we are not. That's why Greyhawk is alive without the published support
Right.
because it's our setting. And if they realize that and don't try to straitjacket DMs into following these world-changing, campaign-altering material, they could do it. They could do it very easily. And I think the thing with Ghosts of Saltmarsh, we've had a talk, it really is a 576 campaign. I know they've altered some stuff. They have Dragonborn and Tieflings, but that's really minor. But really, that one of the reasons I love Ghosts of Saltmarsh is that it is not a straitjacket. It is an expansion on very undetailed material that had come out. So, no, what I'd love to see in the future is then more things. But I'd like to see the future not abandoned. I'd love to see something that expands on the massive work done by Carl Sargent, or the incredible detailed work done by Eric Mona and Gary Hollian with the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer and all the stuff that came out that's now kind of hidden away from LGG.
Great answer. Appreciate that. Definitely, Jason, your thoughts on that. What do you think, Mike?
Future Greyhawk is probably what we're doing right now. Twitch, your show, online stuff. You got to have content. Got to have. I think it's going into the future. Younger gamers probably are going to be leaning more towards the story than the crunch. 5th edition's been good for the younger people at my table, but I think to get the setting going, it's going to need more content, more flashiness. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
more cartoons, Mike.
More cartoons.
It's a great. All three answers, and David's as well, are great answers because I think that we all wouldn't be here if we didn't love the setting, right? I mean, it's like it's in our blood as kids. When we were 11, 12 years old. So I'm willing to be flexible. That's all I'll say. Because I don't, but I just do not want to be, as Jason said, I don't want to be put in a box, and I want this content that you guys are, and this is the one reason I wanted to get you all together today, is I wanted you all to share ideas and just talk, and you probably have been separately of this discussion, but just so, and also for anyone out there in the audience, you can do this too, and we need people doing it. We do. We need more.
That content, put it out there. Put it on Facebook somewhere.
Put it on your. Submit it to the Earth Journal. Put it on Greyhawk Online. Ask one of these gentlemen to put it in their blogs. They'll do it. If you don't want to do it yourself, I guarantee you they would work with you. So, correct, all of us? Yes.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yes.
Excellent. That's great to hear. So the future's bright with it, and I know I'm going to have you all back soon, and maybe we'll do some specific topics down the road for this. This was a fantastic discussion, but I don't want to keep you guys all night. So let's talk about what you got going on in either your campaign future, what you have planned, and Mike, we'll start with you since you are going to be on Wednesday night. So.
Wednesday, well, it's already time for that again.
Isn't it?
Well, first thing I want to talk about is this book again.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's do that and get the
Jelly. Jelly.
Yeah.
Look at this. 300 pages. Castle Greyhawk. This is like 7 years worth of my comics and Scott Casper's writing. This is just mind-blowing that I've done something published like this.
That's awesome.
And I wish more people could get their hands on it now, but I don't know how that's going to be accomplished unless people, Scott does another Patreon or something.
Or can't do a PDF.
I don't know how he does it.
Well, I thought Scott was going to be on tonight because he was on. You saw that, Jason. He wanted to see what you looked like. and he got
No, I
disappointed.
missed that.
It's right in your thing. And then I said, well, Jason doesn't have a camera, so you're probably not going to see him. And he's like,
Yeah.
boo. But I was hoping
Yeah,
he would be on.
I got my Summer of Love picture up on my Facebook page.
Yeah, blowing bubbles.
Yeah.
But so that is out of print, is what you're saying, Mike?
As far as I know, that's it.
How many copies were printed?
I don't know. I really don't know. Scott took control of
2.
it. Yeah,
Okay.
2. No, I would. This is a hard copy or
Right.
a hardback,
Mm-hmm.
and I think some of the other people might have got a soft cover. But how many printed, I don't know.
Okay. All right. Frank, please stay on, okay? Nightheart Gaming, please stay on. Predators Rejects, please stay on. I got some stuff I'm going to discuss. Good.
Other than working on my blog, which is the theme of this, trying to put out something twice a week, I wouldn't say I have anything like super new. I guess I'll have to contribute to Worth Journal before Gary Con. Yeah, that's always in the back of my head. Doing the Legends and Lore stuff with Anna, that's always something to look forward to.
Yeah, and we have festivals, and I go to Jason's thing, and I see there's 3 mentions of festivals in the entire thing. I'm like, come on, Jason, you should have like 30. There's 3. I was like, oh my gosh, where am I going to find these festivals?
I know.
Oh.
I think there's a big Dragon article in the later Dragons that covered them that I didn't index.
If you could, Jason, you could find out for me, that would help me out because I'm going to get slammed Wednesday night if I don't have that. So please, hey, Reaper John, what's going on, John? Hopefully you're liking this discussion, man. Thank you so very much. Reaper is one of my I love that Reaper sponsors us. They are fantastic people, all of them. John, thank you so very much for that resub. Great to see you on. So anything else there?
Later today, after we get done with this, I'll do a pull-up on the index of what I have. There might be more than you're thinking of. There's a thing called CAL, a tag that covers things that aren't directly mentioned. Maybe there's more festivals or events or something I can get for you.
All right, cool. Because I'm going to look like a fool on Wednesday because this is one topic I do not know much about. So, Cool.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it. We're all going to be faking it on Wednesday. So
I think if you have either The Adventure Begins or Player's Guide to Greyhawk, that might cover more festivals.
That'll do it.
Which one?
It's the that era between the end of the AD&D era, and I think it's Player's Guide to Greyhawk. And that
the 2.5 one? The 2.5?
Yeah, I guess 2.5 you'd call it.
All right, I'm going to pop it up real quick as we continue this discussion. Tommy, what do you got brewing, man?
I got a lot brewing.
Awesome.
So I just finished. I just finished the first draft of a novel called The Hateful Wars.
Oh.
It's a full-length novel. It's taken me 12 months. I've been working on it for 12 months.
Nice.
Now I want to get back to the Dawood stories and the Igville stories, and I also have an interview with Paul Kidd that's just been sitting in my email inbox.
Wow.
I want to do a review of Castle Greyhawk, but that's not going to happen if I don't get a copy. I've got Kurt Wackford's Knights of the Heart that's coming up. He did a history of the Knights of the Heart on Cannon Fire. That's fantastic. My real dream project is to figure out what the heck happened with the liberation of Jeff, and did we actually liberate Jeff or not? So I'd love to hear from the Triad on that and find out what happened. Like I mentioned earlier, I would like to have somebody else write for me the Flight of Fiends and the Crooked Brow.
Yes.
And that just goes on to like my point of I need more writers and more contributors who are willing to write Greyhawk fiction so that I can get back to my real life and my real job, and I don't get fired.
Yes, hey, Tommy, it's this way. If you work hard in your regular job, I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to use a swear word. You can screw around all you want in your playtime, right? And that's kind of like, but there's got to be a balance, you know?
Yeah, that's what happens. It's
Yeah.
OCD for me, though.
That actually is a good point. I used to talk about blogging in Time for. I used to get paid to write Greyhawk and do comics because my job was a midnight hotel job where I had nothing but 8 hours a night to do anything but write my Greyhawk stuff and chat with people and. But then when I got a day job, then all of a sudden that was all done.
Yeah.
So now I have to
Exactly.
Is this the guide you guys are talking about?
Yeah, that's one of them. The other one is The Adventure Begins. It's
That's the one that's
like a
2.5.
soft
It's
bound.
got the okay. All right. Okay. Yes. Okay. Greyhawk Adventure Begins. All right. There are the two. All right. Cool. Well, Tommy, I just wanted to say since I haven't had you and David were the newest ones, brand new to the show. Thank you so very much for coming on tonight too. I really appreciate it. I know.
Thanks for
No,
the opportunity.
I'm so glad that I could merge you with Mike, your legendary hero, which is awesome. That the blogging community,
Yeah, Mike and Jason, both of them. I mean,
Hey, thanks.
fantastic. I didn't know Jason until I actually got a Facebook account. I only got a Facebook account so that I could interface with Dungeons and Dragons players. I mean, that's the only reason
Okay.
that I went to that. So this is great.
Thank you.
I'm just glad there's some fresh minds doing some blogging now because I've come very close over the years to just quitting because I get burnt out and run out of ideas or didn't have any, I stopped doing the comics at various stages. And to see other people doing it kind of, keeps me going.
Well, you keep going, Mike, because you're an inspiration to all of us.
Yes, and you can do any
Yeah,
handwritten
definitely,
maps
Mike.
of my locations anytime you want, Mike.
Okay.
Oh man. So Jason, what do you got brewing?
Well, I've started a 5e campaign, so I have to do a lot of expansions with the salt marsh area and developing things there. Actually, with that, I'm going to go from salt marsh over and steal the Goodman Games 5e expansion to Isle of Dread.
Nice.
Where I'm going to take those players. So I've got to go through that and Greyhawk it up and everything. Otherwise, for my blogging, there's several areas I've been developing. I'm going to Verbabank, Land of Black Ice and Blackmoor. Those are big things. And now, I know David mentioned it, and we kind of went over it. It's just, there's been talk about the constellations of Greyhawk, and in Earth Journal, they've been talking about this. And there was a post that showed a picture with the moon in the sky, and then there was a mention about where's the second moon. And so anyway, David and I started riffing off each other about ideas about Luna. And what just occurred to me was, in the future campaign I'm doing, Luna is going to be a giant space station that's moon-sized, but it's long abandoned. It is the source of the spacecraft in S3. It is the source of the City of the Gods in Blackmoor.
Stop it, Jason. Jason, that's no moon.
I know. That's exactly right. It's no moon. But, and there's been a number of things written about that. Orphans in the Sky by Heinlein, Ringworld by Larry Niven. I've been watching on YouTube the Star Lost Canadian show about the, back in the 70s, about the generational ship that was salvaging from Earth with all these different biospheres that has had an accident, and for 500 years, they've all think that they're the world, and they get out, and there's Star Trek episodes about that. There was an episode on the Orville about that. So I'm stealing everything for that. And luckily with the moon, I can just steal some work that Wedge did on the Death Star. And there's a David Weber book about a moon-sized, gives some idea about how vast and big a moon-sized ship would be. So that is one of the projects coming up, is to do a fantasy science fiction
Cool.
Luna setting. And they're up there, and the people there, and even the adventurers have no idea where they are. And they're going to be in a damaged starship with different biospheres and cults
Dang.
and magic added to science, and just a whole bunch of crap that I want to throw out there. So that's going to be a big project. And then one of the things that's been mentioned is, and I mentioned this earlier, is that the Underdark should be like a watermelon with thread running through it. You should have these passages that go sideways and up and down and, at angles, and you
He's
should
right.
have
Not
one
on a flat.
civilization atop another civilization.
You're right.
Because it's three-dimensional, and the Underdark is a wonderful, wonderful place to expand in. And that's why the Drow need to be villains. Because believe me, it's easy to make a race into a hero race. It's when you lose villains, you lose the game. The game is about the players being heroes, but they have to fight somebody. And when you have a wonderful villain source like the Drow, don't waste it. Don't throw it away just to give the players another character type to run. Let them fight the Drow. Let them have a villain that they can fight. So I want to cover some of the vast, varied campaigns that I've run in the past. One of the things that we did back in the 80s when I was first running the D series was the Slaver gladiatorial campaigns. The Drow in my campaign, they had all these various things in the Underdark where, we stole from Spartacus, is that they had these various gladiatorial places and the players were captured and they had to fight as gladiatorial slaves and escape and have a slave rebellion. It was just fantastic stuff.
Yeah, there's no detail about that at all in the D3 at all about what they do with the slaves other than their servants for the most
I know.
part. Yeah.
They sacrifice a lot of them,
That's true.
that kind of guy. But boy, the slave turning him into a gladiatorial campaign was just a lot of fun. But there's so much. It's not just one world down there. It's one level of a world and another level and another level.
Never thought of it that way, but you're absolutely correct, dude. The depths. You're right. It's. You're absolutely correct. It should not be just one flat plane. Yeah, you're absolutely correct on that.
So that's some of where I'm going, but unfortunately, I'm a very eclectic guy, and I see a picture and it inspires me. So I don't know 100% what the next thing will be.
Well,
those are my plans.
I'm hoping the next thing for you with me is that we get you and Carlos hooked up and you are participating there in what I'm about to discuss. So I'm hoping that happens. So, guys, Jason, thanks a lot, man. I learned so much from you every time you talk. Just stuff I did not know, and it's really invigorating.
Well, you're very welcome, Jay. You're keeping the game alive. I mean, we talk a lot about things, but every week, more than once a week, I sit down and I have a great time seeing that a living game going, and just honestly in a dream setting. That
Thank you.
Your campaign is a real like my God, that's something I've seen at conventions and tournaments, but that you guys are able to do this every week. That is it's just amazing, and I think that I know that we're a niche, but my God, that is just, you don't see this. You don't see what you're doing, and I just think it's going to grow.
I hope so. I do. I really I think we all do this for the love of Greyhawk and the love of D&D, and just there's a lot of nostalgia there, but that doesn't mean that we can't share it with and hope that others, latch onto it. And it's just the number one reason why I freely give all my campaign information out, rules, custom rules, all that. I'm more than happy to share with anyone who wants to share, wants the information. So, I'm not going to hoard it or anything like that. Anything we've developed over the last 40 years, I'm more than happy to share it. So, all right, guys. So this was a great night. I got some quickie announcements here. So let's do the one, Reaper John, if you're on Nightheart Gaming, Praetor's Rejects. Anna did up something very nice that we got. I'm going to start right off with this, with the fundraiser event. I am so excited about what's going to be coming on February 15th, Saturday, February 15th, 2020. We got 5 channels involved. I should have had this up already because I'm a fool. My apologies. We have the Greyhawk mega stream that we did last year, and it was just Will and myself. It ended up with 3 channels. This year it is going. We're going gangbusters on it, and here is the ad. You've probably seen this on the Greyhawk Discord. I'm gonna blow it up a little bit. Return of the Falcon is the name of this. So if you know the WGA series, yes, this is years afterwards. Those modules have happened in the campaign setting, and these are the channels and the times that they're running, and it's 5 great Twitch channels, starting with Carlos' CISL Entertainment at 4 a.m. and the ever mysterious They Call Me Tim, who's on, is going to play in that, and he's going to play in mine too, because he's up for PT in that time anyway. And then Predators Rejects from 8 to noon, and he's thinking about running something in the Showcanth area in the Yachtils. Wicked Studios LLC, Will's group, Adam, they're going to be in Greyhawk City. Nightheart Gaming, running a Greyhawk adventure, so awesome. He's going to be in Greyhawk City with his part, and then my finale from 8 o'clock on will be based right in the free city of Altamira. I can't wait. It's going to be great. Now, you may see behind me, see those things behind me? These stratagem things? So Friday, I talked to Colin at Stratagem, and I said, look, I reached out to my sponsors, and I said, would you like to participate in the fundraiser event? Colin goes, absolutely. What do you want? I said, well, I want a certain amount of stuff. So I said, you guys see the winter mats I have on my table? There's a winter mat there, and there's a spring mat there. And I also have the new ad for some Wiz dice, Cups of Illusions dice, all sorts of stuff they sent me for giveaways for major donators during this event. So we're going to have a lot of giveaways this year, and I'm going to be giving those 2 stratagem mats away, and they are awesome, guys. They're neoprene. Jason, you've seen them. Mike, you've seen them on the show. They are fantastic. So Stratagem stepped up and gave me those items. I cannot wait for this event coming up. And please, there's time slots open, guys. If you want to play in one of these games, please just reach out to me or one of the channels if you're friends with them, and I will hook you up. And we raised $1,000 last year for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. The goal is to double that this year. If we don't, we're sad, because I really think with all the channels involved and the number of followers we have, we should blow that away. So guys, whatever you can do during that day, keep it in mind. It's again Saturday, February 15th. Frank from Nightheart Gaming is making these wonderful teaser videos, a 45-second one and a 2-minute one. Hopefully I'll have them soon, and all the channels will be running them. I'll be running that on my ads as soon as that's up. They're beautiful. I can't wait for you guys to see them. We're about 5.5, 6 weeks out, so it's a perfect time to start running them. All right, that's the big thing I wanted to announce. Legends and Lore is back on Wednesday, and after a little holiday hiatus. What's that, Mike?
I had to write that down. Wednesday,
January 8th at 8 p.m. A new year, time, calendar, and festivals. So I am really devoid of this information, guys. I took the glossography, Jason, that we discussed, and I printed out all this, so I got some data here. And, but it'll be an interesting discussion, and we may have Leonard Lakofka hopping in, guys. Just be forewarned. Leonard comes out of the blue when he gets interested, and he'll just show up. So you never know. We may have Leonard on that adventure, on this discussion. We'll probably be off the week after because Anna, it's our anniversary. And then the week after that, the 22nd, is the Living Greyhawk, where I'm going to have at least 4 Living Greyhawk organizers on for Legends and Lore. That'll be a great show, Mike. I can't wait for that one. I think we'll have a blast on that show, just as much as this one. This was a great one. Thursday is we continue with Return to Orog's Mound and that adventure. The Bloody Brethren continue and see if they can figure out where all these Erythnal remnants from the Hidden Temple of Erythnal that I ran last year have come from, and what they're going to do with them. And then Gabbin, next week, we talked about this, is delving into Elves of Greyhawk. Anna is going to talk about the history. I'm going to talk about all the different races and classes that we use, and then we're going to have some arguments on like the Grey Elf, the Grey Elf, High Elf thing, Half Elves, Sylvan Elves, Grugach. We already dealt with Dark Elves, so we're not going to really go into this. Is more surface elf discussion, guys. So we're going to delve into Elves next week on Gabbin next Sunday, and I don't have to worry about an Eagles playoff game now. So yay! So anything closing the three of you would like to say? Thank you so very much, everyone. I probably missed something, and I apologize if I did, but we are. We're looking for all sorts of. If you want to donate something ahead of time for the fundraiser, or you want to make something to give out to a donator, hey, we're all in on ideas. So,
well, I just want to say I'm so glad Tom and David and Jason are on a show, all together like this. We get more and more people coming on your shows, Jay.
Thank you.
And I'm not saying that I'm like on all the time, but I've also done podcasts with my friends before, and sometimes I just would, much like Anna did tonight, sometimes I would rather just sit back and listen to you other guys talk. And yeah, it's great to see more and more people coming, putting themselves out there.
I think it's a great thing, and it just it helps with getting the community together. Community building is what it's all about for Greyhawk. So, Tommy, Jason, any final thoughts before I hit one of the new ads, guys, again? So,
well, I'm a raise all boats kind of guy, and I think that if we can, as hobbyists with Greyhawk, come together more and support each other, that is good for all of us. And I'd just like to see, I know that I think it's Tommy's the WordPress. I have a hard time getting that on my blog's reader role. I know it's possible, but I'll have to get into that more. But I would just like, I'd like maybe there to be back, there was in the past something called the Greyhawk web ring.
Right.
Oh my gosh, it was like Malden's the only one left
That's like
on it, right?
Years ago, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Malden's
that's
it.
me. I'm a product of the past, and unfortunately, technologically, I've never been particularly good. We're all about the same age, but I don't know if my school was backwards, but we had, for me, computers back then were print cards and a big yellow roll of printer paper that would come out, and we had a very simplistic system. Something like the Trash 80 computer was an advanced thing for us.
Oh my God.
So we had nothing back in high school, and I've never really developed too much technologically. But I would love to see something where we could link ourselves together into. I mean, Greyhawk Online is starting to do that, but I'd really like to see us try to pull together all the various elements online and even not online that are for Greyhawk, so that we can all get together and we can all support each other. Because even though we might have different outlooks and different campaigns, it's all Greyhawk that is the starting point for us.
Yeah, right on. With
that, guys, thank you. If you guys want to hang and BS a little bit, or if you got to go, so be it. Great discussion. Anna, what do you think? Top 5 show of all time on Gabbin? I'd say so. Maybe top 3. Great topics, great discussion. This was an awesome one. And I'm honored that you all said yes. Yeah, Anna says definitely. I'm honored that you all said yes to, and came on and let me be part of this experience. So we'll see you soon, and let's see if I can do this right without hitting the wrong button. I probably hit the wrong button, but let's take a look at the new ad from Stratagem. By the way, these dice. Where do you see? Compare this to regular 20. Where do you see these dice? I'm gonna be showing a set on Thursday on my table. See you all Wednesday night.
Oh, definitely. I'm looking forward to that.
There, look, Anna hopped on to on the Zoom.
Thank you so much. That was an awesome show.
Anna, oh my gosh.
I managed to stay away. But it was awesome listening.
Yeah, I invited Anna to come
Fantastic.
on, but she said she wanted to.
Well, you were full already, and I've been babbling so much on the channel anyway. So this was awesome. This was your show as bloggers, and that was fantastic. So thank you all. This was awesome. Yep.
Fantastic. So good to see you.
So good to see you too, and I really enjoy the stories. It's fantastic. So where you at, Thomas? Where in the world?
I'm up on the near div. I'm on Lake Superior here.
Oh, that's awesome. Yep.
Yep.
So how far are you from Traverse City?
You know, it's about 4 hours, but maybe 5. I don't know. It's far enough that I don't want to go there.
Yeah, my brother-in-law lives there. That's why I was asking. Wow. Yeah, it's a haul and a half. So a New Year time calendar and festivals, I still feel like I'm devoid of information.
But it's good that you for once I have a little bit of information because you talk about all the modules and stuff that I never played, and I've read through them a little bit. So I always feel like I'm second fiddle or third fiddle or fourth or something. So this is something. What I'll do is that I have put together a calendar. So what I'll do is that I'll export it out of my Evernote and send it to you guys.
Whoops.
So
Here, I'll run this too while we're BSing a little bit. I'll run this one again since we're BSing still.
You girl are first fiddle.
Thank you. At times I am.
Yeah, it's wow. Tommy, Anna is. It's great to have Anna involved in a lot of things that are going on on my channel, and it really it brings like the how do you say this? The level of higher status, right?
Well, I have more time than most of you to deal with this. I have no kids, and I do this all full time. So I have two huge advantages that way. I have a lot of time to spend on it. I basically do mapping and stuff for commission or for my page of Greyhawk stuff 10 hours a day.
Wow.
6 days a week. Yeah.
That's fantastic. What a gift.
Have a great night, guys. We'll see you.
All right. Thank you.
I'm just.